do back home.
The games in the Champions League are not as frantic and quickly and physical as it is in the Premier League. He's got to show that form in the Premier League as well. He hasn't done it so far. He showed glimpses. And as Al said, it's a tough game on Saturday.
Liverpool away to Brentford is live on talkSPORT on Saturday night. Frimpong and Isak are both injury doubts for that one, which might see Salah return to the starting lineup. Gabby Agbonlahor says the Egyptian will be fuming.
I could tell by body language and his face when he was coming on. If I'm reading Mo Salah's face, I'm reading someone that's saying in his head, how dare you, after all I've done for this football club, how dare you put me on the bench?
Elsewhere, Enzo Maresca counts himself lucky to have special talent Estevão at Chelsea and doesn't have to worry about the humble Brazilian getting too big for his boots. Estevão terrorised Ajax in a 5-1 win at Stamford Bridge. England's third T20 with New Zealand has been severely interrupted by rain. Sam Ellard's watching for us.
Well, we started on time, then we went off, then we came back on for a few overs, then we went off, and then we were supposed to get going at 10 o'clock UK time, so now. But guess what? Yeah, it's raining once again. It was supposed to be start at 10, 8 overs aside, but it's spitting again. Fingers crossed the rain goes away and we can get some type of game in, but we are desperately running out of time. So as things stand, with New Zealand 38 for 1 into the fourth, play is still delayed because of rain.
Thank you, Sam. Fingers crossed, play continues. Commentary continues over on talkSPORT too, if it does, and talkSPORT's cricket YouTube channel. And a big thank you from us to you this morning. 3.4 million of you are listening to the talkSPORT network.
talkSPORT News.
Ukraine welcomes Donald Trump getting tough on Russia with new sanctions, and a verdict is due in the trial of a former British soldier accused of murdering 2 people on Bloody Sunday in 1972. There's more from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. With expert technicians in all our centres across the country, we'll keep your car's inbuilt safety tech in top condition this winter. Book today at quickfit.com.
Well as New Zealand, persistent rain across England and Wales, slowly clearing to the east. Scattered showers elsewhere, some heavy and thundery. Windy, severe gales possible along eastern coast. Feeling colder, Storm Benjamin on the way.
Good morning, everybody. You're listening to Jim White and Simon Jordan. We're live in talkSPORT. So Liverpool end their losing run by hammering Frankfurt 5-1. Does the winning formula going forward no longer include Mo Salah? Meantime, Tottenham take a point in Monaco. But amid some boos, what does Spurs fans really want? Also today, did we witness a true boycott at Sheffield Wednesday? After La Liga's climb down, is Serie A next? Will John Terry ever be a serious candidate for management? Did Rodgers need to double down on his Honda Civic comments? And fight pundit Spencer Oliver will join us live as we build up to Wardley versus Parker. Jim White and Simon Jordan, and we are live on talkSPORT.
100% engagement.
Jim White and Simon Jordan on talkSPORT.
Now then, I was worried about you this morning because I looked out and I saw trees bent over. Storm Benjamin beginning to take a grip, and I thought, he'll be holding on to his hairpiece this morning as he leaves his fashionable penthouse apartment. But you're fine. You look a bit toozled, as we would say in Scotland.
Tousled.
Yes, but you're okay.
I'm all right. I am. Walked my young son to school this morning.
Good.
I don't happen to be in a very good humour because the British justice system in this country is absurd. I won't get into that.
Yeah. And in the meantime, this is our last day with you for quite a number of days.
Yes.
Because you're off to España.
Society has earned a well-earned rest from my activities.
Okay.
It was Milford Stevenson, wasn't it, in Sentencing the Craze, wasn't it? That was Judge Milford Stevenson in Sentencing the Craze, wasn't it? Or was it John McVicker?
Oh, was it?
Society has earned a well-earned rest from your activities.
All right. Thank you very much.
So
indeed.
you know.
All right. Just so as I know. I will get through today. With the help of producer Luke, who very kindly administered me another Lemsip just as I came through onto
Why, what's
the
the matter?
studio
You're not well.
floor. No,
you put it out there, so we might as well ask.
It's something you've
Are you
given
not
me,
well,
clearly.
Jim?
I think I got it from Danny Murphy yesterday. But anyway, we will crack on. And Danny was right. He was the first one to say yesterday, don't expect Mo Salah to be in the starting lineup.
Yep.
And he got it right. What do you think, Simon, after the mini recent slump? Is nothing like an emphatic response to shut down all the noise. Eintracht Frankfurt 1, Liverpool 5. That's some result.
Yeah, it's a good result. I mean, the fact that Eintracht Frankfurt playing games this season and then in the 10 games they've played, 55 goals have been scored, give you some indication that they're capable of both scoring goals and conceding goals. And so for Liverpool, it will be, back to what they think where they think they should be.
Yeah.
There'll be some concerns. Isak isn't firing, is he?
No.
Tragically, terribly, I feel terrible for him.
He came off injured too.
Yeah, but Liverpool got the result they needed.
Yeah.
And then normal services resumed, which is Liverpool being in the groove. I mean, I don't think Frankfurt are much of a side, but it doesn't matter if they're much of a side. You've got to beat them. They've had some decent results themselves.
Exactly.
Times this season. So they're not mugs, but I think that you would expect Liverpool to be put to the sword. It might just tell you that playing in the Premier League is actually more difficult than playing against some of the European sides.
Yeah, we'll get to the Mo Salah situation very shortly. But Arne Slot post-match was asked, "All right, well, what was different about tonight?"
The biggest exception for me was today, compared to the other games we've played, was the playing style of our opponent. So we got also some energy out of the moments we could press them, which in the last 4 or 5 games we played, we were not able to press the opponent because, the ball wasn't on the ground, was through the air.
Now, you're not having that, are you? You didn't like that?
No, I mean, we're building up a narrative around Liverpool that teams have to play the way that Liverpool like them to play in order for Liverpool to win games. That's what we're hearing. So obviously I'm assuming that Eintracht Frankfurt didn't bank up, didn't make it difficult, came out and attacked Liverpool and subsequently got their due just rewards. So that's the point.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I make of that. I think that the best teams in the world have to overcome whatever the opposition throw at them. And if that's a team that wants to bank up, make it difficult, deny the space, play in a low block, whatever terminology we want to use in the modern day, and you can't overcome it, that's not on the opposition, that's on you.
But it's okay to talk about the opposition and what they do or what they don't do, isn't it?
Sure, but the idea that ultimately you get an outcome because the opposition played the way it suits your team, when you actually distill it, when you distill that and you step back from it and cue the outrage from Liverpool fans that if you dare criticise anything to do with their football club in any shape or form, they become outraged. The idea that a manager says that the reasons why we did well is because of the way the opposition played. I mean, just distill it for a moment. Just process that in your thinking.
No, I know what you're saying. I know.
The way that the opposition played.
Yeah.
Okay, what about the way that you played? I mean, I'm assuming that there has to be an ability to overcome whatever the opposition throw at you.
Yeah.
So unless it's the opposition's job, I'm assuming that on the opposition's team sheet, it must now read playing Liverpool. We must play in such a way that makes Liverpool look good.
Come on.
But it is, isn't it? Pack it in, Arnie. You're better than that. You're a brilliant football manager. Your team has come up short in games because the opposition have found a way to negate what you do. How about you raise your game with all the talent, all the resources you've got around you, and find a way to open up teams, get an early goal, get the opposition having to come out of their half, and then you can pick them off.
Yeah, no.
How about that?
I see where you're going with it. One notable absentee, of course, was Mo Salah. And Jamie Carragher had commented that maybe Salah shouldn't be an automatic starter. Well, where have we gone to with Mo Salah? From last season's Willie Won't He contract saga to this season's Willie Won't He start on the bench. And Danny Murphy yesterday picked up on Carragher's comments.
He shouldn't have to start every game, no. I agree with that. I don't think...
Shouldn't have to. I mean, that's a different thing from shouldn't be able to.
Well, he shouldn't...
He's out of form, isn't he?
For years...
He doesn't work hard for the team.
For years, it didn't matter what he did, he's going to start.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be the case now.
So he's no longer an automatic starter.
No, he shouldn't be. Nobody should be.
And that's a fair point, isn't it? Doesn't matter who you are. Nobody should be an automatic starter, including Mo Salah. Am I not right? I mean...
Well, depends what that person does for the team, even if they're out of form. So there is an element of, should the captain of a side be an automatic starter? If say he's 10% of his game, his form isn't great, but he's still valuable to the team.
Yeah.
Is there an argument for that?
We've seen captains being dropped in the past.
If you make your play, if you do the Gareth Southgate position and ignore it, which is I only pick players that are in form, and then pick players that you like from the past that have done things for you in the past, then you get caught out in that argument. I don't think there should be a guaranteed place for anybody, but I think there should also be a lot of currency and a lot of latitude and a lot of credit in the bank for players that are capable of changing a game, but and also have indicated what they're capable of doing over a long period of time.
Sure.
So Salah has been a player that has produced outcomes for a long period of time. I've questioned certain things about him in the past, but you're not allowed to, because he's such a wonderful player that if you criticise anybody, and ultimately they're a protected characteristic. But the fact of the matter is that I'm in the camp where I'm ambivalent about whether people should or shouldn't. I think there was a certain place where sometimes you have to allow people to come through bad form, and get into the best form that they can be in if they've lost their current form.
Yeah.
The situation with Salah is, because what Danny said was right yesterday, it's amplifying the fact he doesn't work hard. He doesn't work hard. He's a forward-going player only.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's the way your team is set up and achieve outcomes.
Sure.
If your team needs support and help, and it needs defensive support from its forward players, then don't be looking in the direction of Mo Salah, because he's not going to give it to you, and he hasn't given it to you.
Yeah.
And maybe he hasn't been asked to, and in part, maybe that's not what his brief has been in terms of what he's been told to do. Now, ultimately, it's being exacerbated because not only is he not scoring goals, not only is he looking out of sorts, he also is now not tracking back in the same way that he wasn't before. So, to go to your point, yes and no. There's no fixed answer.
No, exactly.
It depends on the team.
I heard Gabby saying there, from a player's perspective, Salah, this was Salah. And he had a look in his face when he came on towards the end of, you dare to drop me? You dare to drop me?
It's like, would they ever drop Messi? I mean, would you ever drop Messi during his pomp years, not when he's 40 years of age, or whatever he is now, 36, 37, when he was in his 20s? Would there have ever been a time, if Messi was out of sorts playing for Argentina or playing for Barcelona, that they'd have dropped him?
Well, this is Messi, though. I mean...
But this is Salah.
Yeah.
And Salah's been put on a pedestal. And Salah has scored so many goals and been the recipient of so much praise and adoration and adulation and necessity to stay, and everyone standing still waiting to see if he's going to go to Saudi.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, well, hang on a second, he's not beyond reproach.
Well, let's put it out there actually this morning, Simon, because Danny threw it in yesterday, and I must admit, it gathered pace thereafter. Mo Salah, I don't think he'll start tonight. Well, he didn't start last night, and Liverpool romped it by 5-1. So does the winning formula going forward no longer include Mo Salah? Certainly for the time being. You might want to give us a call on that. 03717 22 33 44 81089. We'll get into Tottenham amidst some boos. What do Spurs fans actually want? We'll get into that as well. But on Salah, Liverpool fans, where do you stand with it? Going forward, does the winning formula going forward no longer include this man? Give us a call. 03717 22 33 44. Talk boxing later on this morning. Spencer Oliver will join Simon and myself as we look ahead to Fabio Wardley against Joseph Parker this weekend. You're going to go to that, Simon?
I am
too, right?
I'm looking forward to it.
You're looking forward to it?
Very much looking forward.
It's a massive, massive result if Wardley can find a way of beating him, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great result for Fabio.
Yeah.
But what I'm looking for is a great fight.
Yeah.
And ultimately, Joe Parker's put himself on the line. He didn't need to take this fight. He's taken a risky fight given the situation he's been in, which is waiting for an opportunity to get a world title shot. So I think that deserves commendation.
Sure.
But also Fabio, when Fabio's in a fight, you're going to have a fight here.
Oh, he'll go for it, won't he?
There's a fight here.
Come out swinging.
It's not going to be, I wonder what's going to happen here, and it's going to be a standoff. It's going to be a fight.
Right, yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. And I just hope it's not one of those that goes out quickly. I mean, one of our guys is forecasting that Joe Parker will take Fabio out in 4 rounds. No one's dropped Fabio Wardley. So
No.
I don't know where that comes from.
Okay.
But it'll be fascinating, Jim.
Well, he hasn't faced anybody like Parker, though, has he?
No, but notwithstanding that, for heavyweights can punch, and he's taken some shots because he is available to take shots, and he does take shots, Fabio.
Yeah.
There's been no evidence that he can't take big shots. Be a good fight, Jim. It'll be a good fight.
Later on this morning, we'll talk about ex-Chelsea captain John Terry becoming Chelsea manager. It's a very interesting one, this. John decided to tell us all about one day he would like to be Chelsea manager, which is fair enough, and then told us how he may or may not get there. I'm very keen to get your take on that, Simon. Many Liverpool fans getting in touch with us this morning, and this is what we like, because I say it whenever you meet me in the street. Yep. Your involvement in this show is very, very important, probably the most important thing to us as far as we're concerned, because it's what it's about. We want to hear from you, and this morning we are doing that in big numbers. Mo Salah, where are we going with this? Moving forward, in the light of the fact that Salah, surprisingly, didn't start the game last night due to a dip in form, does the winning formula going forward no longer include Mo Salah? Liverpool romped it against Eintracht Frankfurt last night, but Mo didn't start. Is that a thing of the future? 03717 223344. Chris, good morning. You're first up. What do you make of this? Are you a better team without him?
I think we are, to be honest, guys. I think especially he's got a bit of an ego, Salah, especially now he's not. You got Isak there, you got Wirtz there. I don't think he'll like that the focus is not near him. He is quite selfish, even that chance he had in the second half to square across. I was listening to Alan McCoist on TNT. and he wants the focus all to be on him, which I don't think in the long term is going to be good for the team.
Yeah, but Chris, last season you were all desperate for Mo Salah to sign a new deal.
Yeah, I think we were, because he did what he did last season. But like I say, now we've got Wirtz, you got Isak, you got XTK.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to like not being a starter with all the focus not potentially being on him.
I see. I'm with you. Good call, Chris. Thank you for that. Richie, good morning. Where do you stand on this? Liverpool without Salah. Is this the way ahead?
Good morning, lads. Great show, by the way.
Thanks.
I think the dip in form with Salah's obviously a few things going on. Obviously, with the passing of Jota and things like that. I think it's affecting him a little bit, more than others. But look, Mo Salah's a world-class player. He might be able to do nothing throughout the game. With struggling to form and that. But he can turn the game just like that. In a split second. And for me, I think he has to start games to get back on track. I'm hoping he'll start, on Saturday against Brentford.
Yeah. Okay, here's Simon on that, Richard.
Can I ask you a question? And it's not designed to be clever, but it's just a question that popped into my mind. Is he a good player and a good side? When the side's out of sorts, does it exacerbate the failings that Mo Salah has in certain respects, or is it simply not the case? Because I think that Mo Salah is a good player, and when the side's playing well, he shines.
Yes, Simon. I think when all players are off form, then it's going to affect everyone, the whole team, the whole balance, the unit, and everything else. But even yesterday when he come on, he just didn't look like the player he has been over the past few seasons.
Yeah.
And obviously, a few things have hit him hard, over the summer and things like that. I just think it's an effect on his game in a way that people don't know. It's a difficult time for Liverpool at the moment. But when I think the best thing yesterday was to drop him. I agree with what Danny Murphy said yesterday. And for me, mate, to be honest, he has to start. He has to start at the weekend.
You want him to start at the weekend, Richie?
I want him to start at the weekend.
Yeah.
He has to start at the weekend.
Okay, mate, thank you for that. Richie, thanks for the call. Phil, do you want him to start at the weekend, knowing what you know after last night?
Yeah, I think he's a fantastic player. As a squad player and all the rest of it, but one player doesn't make the team. And I think one of the lads had just said before, the way he didn't cross the ball last night, and also at Saturday where he done that miss kick. I know these things can happen, and it is just a ball at the end of the day, and go anywhere. But he's paid a fortune, and I seriously think that when we had Mane and we had Salah and we let Mane go, I personally, I'd let Salah go. I'd let Mo Salah go, because he's too greedy. He's been too greedy for a long time because he has got that ego. But at the end of the day, he has got quality. We can't deny that. But he isn't all the team. They don't tick just for him. And I think that's what he expects. Like last night was evidence with his sidekick that he didn't do.
Well, do you know something, Phil? That is a very good point. Have a listen to this, because Gabby Bonlahor this morning on Breakfast alluded to the fact that looking at Salah last night, he was seriously miffed that he didn't start. This was Gabby.
I could tell by body language and his face when he was coming on. If I'm reading Mo Salah's face, I'm reading someone that's saying in his head, how dare you, after all I've done for this football club, how dare you put me on the bench? Other players haven't been performing. Van Dijk hasn't been performing. Why is Gomez not coming for Van Dijk or Konate? I know for a fact Mo Salah will be absolutely fuming. Players are selfish sometimes. He'll be thinking, how dare you? He'll see what everyone's saying today. Oh, we were better without Mo Salah. Or we won 5 without Mo Salah.
It'll hurt. There's no doubt.
It'll hurt him for sure.
What do you think of that, Phil? Mo's thinking, how dare you drop me? According to Gabby.
See, that's the thing again. It's the ego. I know we need these players to shine and to be euphoric and all these types of scenarios when they're kicking the ball and playing it with the team. But when they don't share it and they just expect it all about them, that gets me. As a fan, that gets me.
Okay, Phil, thanks for that. What do you make of that?
Well, I think it's a slightly unfair characterisation, because no top player would be thrilled about being left on the bench. And if they were, there'd be something wrong. Yeah. So if Salah was sitting on a bench having a big grin up, Gabby would be saying, well, that ain't right. He looks far too content. He's far too happy with that. That means he's not motivated anymore. He's lost his interest in Liverpool. I don't know whether... Listen, all the best players, all the best stars have an ego. It's about how you deploy that ego, because part of your character and ability to be able to perform on a public domain is not just your physical ability to do it, is your mental application, and that comes with a sense of worth.
Yeah.
And that sense of worth, even more so in a football dressing room, is it's dog eat dog, or it's the law of the jungle, isn't it? You have to be strong in your character.
Yeah.
So I don't think that he came on with an attitude of how dare you. I think he probably came on or accepted his lot with an attitude of I don't much like this. Because who would?
Yeah. As a top player would
unless, of course, Arnie Slaughter said to him, I'm going to rest you. I want you on top form for Premier League games. I think we can beat Frankfurt without exerting you, because obviously player welfare is so prevalent for you guys, and you'll appreciate the well-being that I'm trying to deploy towards you. So we don't know, really, but I don't think there's anything wrong with a top player having the needle about being dropped.
Do you agree with that, Daryl? The final call from a Liverpool fan at this stage, that there's nothing wrong with keeping out a top player if he's not bang on form, and Salah is not bang on form. Simple as.
How you doing, guys? Good morning.
Good morning, Daryl.
I just want to talk about a different dynamic of what I saw watching the game, and what I think has been a thing in the Liverpool team.
Yeah,
is that when Salah's on, they look to him for the goals. Like Szoboszlai is putting balls and he's always wide, whereas when he wasn't on, there's more dynamic to the attack. He's looking for Ekatike or Isak, Gakpo's wide. There's always options there, but Salah's always wide and he wants to cut in. Also, Bradley was more forward because he knows he's got cover. So, but when Salah's on, Bradley sort of like he stays wide as well to play the 1-2s and let Salah go for the attack. And Salah always wants his goal.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like this is causing Liverpool's problems. I feel like with Salah out of it, everyone felt more free to say, right, we all need to chip in, we all need to do more, we've got to get goals, but there's something going on that when Salah's on, it's about, oh, we've got to get Salah the ball, we've got to get Salah the ball, he's got to get his goal. And I feel like the team's just focused on that, and it's causing us problems in our attack. We've been papering over cracks for a long time. We've been getting sloppy wins, scrappy wins. We've had like 23 shots on and 3 on target. Nonsense stuff, you know. And last night I saw a different dynamic to the team without Salah. And I do feel like, yeah, you've seen the greediness. You know, that's always been there. But luckily he's always got us goals. He's got away with it. But I haven't been the biggest fan of Salah for a long time.
That's an interesting, Daryl, some very interesting observations from there, because you obviously almost forensically look at it.
But you give the ball to the best player.
Well, yes.
You give the ball to the best. I mean, I remember listening to Marcel.
But Daryl's saying that doesn't necessarily bring you the best results.
But it has historically. And as a matter of course, if your default setting is, I mean, Martin O'Connell sits in the studio telling stories about Brian Clough saying to everyone, give the ball to the little fat man on the wing, John Robertson. He'll turn people inside out and put it on a sixpence for someone to score. Giving the ball to Mo Salah got an outcome most of the time. So if the default setting of the side is to look for its best player, I mean, Man City will look for Haaland all the time.
Uh-huh.
When they're going forward, they're looking for Haaland.
Yeah.
So when Haaland doesn't score goals, does that mean that looking for Haaland is the wrong thing to do?
Yeah.
Looking for Salah is the wrong thing to do.
Salah will start at Brentford, right?
Possibly. If you're part of the team that won 5-1 on the weekend, during the week, and get dropped for Salah, you might feel that's a bit unfair.
Yeah.
But what a great place to be in, that you've got an embarrassment of riches, that you can take Salah out, get a 5-1 win, put him back in, and hopefully have a reaction from him. I mean, I don't think he's been under aroused. I think he's just done the same things as he's done since he's arrived at Liverpool. He's just not hitting the back of the net.
No, true. So, Liverpool going forward without Salah. Interesting dynamic, isn't it? It certainly was last night, because they won 5-1 in Germany. It's 10:30 this Thursday morning.
A big step forward. That's what Liverpool's Champions League winning midfielder Didi Hamann has called last night's 5-1 win over Frankfurt.
A big boost for the confidence, and obviously Wirtz getting his first couple of assists, I think will be a lot of weight off his shoulders, and hopefully we see the best of him now.
Ekitike was good again, but Salah struggled off the bench. Meanwhile, Isak picked up another injury, and Arne Slot has shared his reaction.
You feel like, there must be a moment where he can play twice a week, and the first time we try, he did this in Sweden as well, but the first time we try, he has to go off.
Elsewhere, Enzo Maresca considers himself lucky to have Esteval, calling him a special talent. The winger was one of 3 teenagers to score in Chelsea's 5-1 dismantling of Ajax. Thomas Frank says Spurs are still learning the ropes of Champions League football. His side played out a goalless draw at Monaco. In the Championship, Rob Edwards says the quiet Hillsborough atmosphere made it harder for Middlesbrough to perform.
It did make it strange. It probably added more, in a weird way, it added more pressure on us. And it probably made me feel a bit more pressured.
Borough are now second following their 1-0 win. The Wednesday fans stayed away in protest over the ownership. And a big thank you from everyone here at talkSPORT Towers today. The latest industry stats show 3.4 million of you are listening to the talkSPORT network.
This is it, your big chance to win £100,000, completely tax-free. Plus, you get to visit talkSPORT Towers on Thursday, November the 13th to play for that incredible cash prize. 100 grand. Here's how you can do it.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word cash to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission, or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 3338. All entries must be received by the 6th of November at 4 p.m. This is a TalkSPORT limited promotion run on TalkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
Before I go any further, this is our chance, is it not? Tess Daly and Claudia Winkleman quitting Strictly.
A window of opportunity. Can you imagine us doing that show? It'd be you going, this is the best thing I've ever seen. I can't believe it, on the 17th floor. Right, and I'd be going,
yeah,
this is pathetic.
Yeah.
He's fat. He can't dance.
Exactly.
He's got moves like Douglas Bader.
He's taking
can
all
imagine,
the money.
Can you imagine if you and I were doing it? That would be it.
That would be it.
Destroyed.
That would be it. He's taking all the money out of the room. I mean, honestly, what am I watching? Be brilliant.
Dancer welfare. Dancer welfare.
Yeah.
Kieran will be in there going, oh, the dancers need more respite.
I'm watching my phone for messages from those who run Strictly, and Simon and I are available. You can do the negotiating.
Indeed.
All right, let's hit them hard. Jim White and Simon Jordan live on Strictly. Now you're talking. Well done, Chelsea. Good result for them. We'll hear from John Terry later on about how one day he would like to manage the football club. But Chelsea looking good at the moment, Simon. They put teams away. They put the opponent away with consummate ease, although Ajax were down to 10 men.
Yep.
But this was an extremely one-sided affair, and Chelsea deserved to win it.
Dutch football isn't in great condition, is it? It hasn't been for a while. Ajax has been having all manner of problems for some time, but Chelsea do their job. And, and you expect them to do that. I mean, we are now at a stage where we need to see some fruition from Chelsea. They've been now under new ownership for 3 years. They've spent a lot of money. They've assembled a very good, talented group of players. We keep on hearing the age of these players and playing into the idea that they're not ready yet because they're too young. But they're a good side. And at times, despite the manager spending his level best talking down his team last year, and then having the audacity at the end of the season to say someone else did it, was almost biblical in terms of the lack of awareness. But you look at it and say, I like Chelsea. I think they're a good side. I think they've got a lot of talent in that side. And it's about their consistency. It's about being able to deliver outcomes every single week. And Ajax are there to be beaten now. The Dutch sides that once upon a time were these beautiful teams that played in the 70s. Oh, yeah. And Cruyff was kicking about, and Nieskins and Johnny Rep and all those sort of players. Yeah. Those days are not there anymore.
They've gone. Have they not? They have gone. Amid some early grumblings and boos last night, Tottenham fans, what do you actually want from your team under Thomas Frank? Spurs snatched a point out in Monaco after a man of the match performance from Vicario, your goalkeeper. But should it be seen as a point gain? Because there were boos at the end, and Thomas Frank said,
especially the second half, and that combined with a day where we didn't hit too many players didn't hit a good knock level, that can happen. I think we are learning Champions League, and every game in Champions League is difficult. We're taking it step by step, and it's not the worst thing on a bad day to get a point and a clean sheet.
I think he's right.
Why do you have to learn to have intensity in Champions League? I mean, intensity is a default setting inside a football match, isn't it? So why do you have to learn to have intensity?
What's your point?
Well, my point is Thomas, who I very much like and think is a very good manager, is talking about the fact that people are learning and that they lacked intensity in the second half. So I'm assuming he means they've got to learn to have intensity. So I'm assuming that that's something that is a default setting of a footballer, that they have to be intense inside a football match, because there's no good sitting there with a la-di-da on, is it, and all being all relaxed about it.
No, but they haven't been a regular Champions League team, so maybe it's a different
It's a football
kind
match.
of intensity.
It's a football match. It's a game of football between two sides, and an outcome is determined by what people are prepared to do to win a football match.
Will you tell me to shut up when we were presenting Strictly?
Indeed.
Yeah. I mean, Tottenham got away with one here, though, Simon. And Thomas Frank...
I said that they'll get a draw yesterday. I said that.
Well, Monaco had 23 shots, and they missed a host of chances.
Yeah, Monaco are decent at home.
Yeah.
They're not so decent away. I mean, Man City went there and got a draw. So whilst, we're raving about Man City at this moment in time, it's not a bad point. It's a decent point.
I agree.
The fans are entitled, if they haven't seen what they wanted to see, let's be clear about fans' entitlement, because I'm always making observations that sometimes are critical, not always sometimes, critical of fans' behaviour. They are paying a lot of money to go over to Monaco. Nice part of the world to go to, absolutely, but still going there. And if they see a lacklustre performance in the second half, why shouldn't they say, oh, come on, let's have a bit more than that?
Well, they weren't happy with Nuno's brand of football. They weren't happy with Ange's brand of football. I wonder where they're going with Thomas Frank. This was Spurs' first goalless draw in 125 games.
They weren't happy with the outcomes. Nuno didn't get a chance to put his feet under the table, and he was the wrong fit for Tottenham Hotspur. He was.
No, but they felt it was boring.
Well, he was the wrong...
They said that.
He was the wrong fit. He wasn't... For Tottenham have a certain viewpoint of how they think this team should play. It comes with the territory of being Tottenham Hotspur. And ultimately, Nuno Espirito Santo was just the wrong fit, as managers often can be.
They liked Ange until they started conceding for fun.
Exactly. So they liked Ange because he'd given them their Tottenham back. They were front foot facing. And then they didn't like the irrationality of some of his thinking. And as much as I like Ange and want him to be successful, and despite he didn't run the narrative about how to play football, he could have chosen to play, Ange Postecoglou, by the way, he could have chosen to play the way he played against Eintracht Frankfurt and Man United in the league as well and got some points.
Yeah, true.
He didn't. True. So he can't keep on, I focused my priorities. No, you changed your style of play to win a competition.
Thomas Frank is just in the door. They went to Monaco last night. They didn't lose it. They came away with something, and they're still learning. So what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that, John, who's a big Tottenham fan who's been waiting to speak to us? Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Hope you're both well. I do think sometimes with managers like Frank and Potter, they're products of successful, well-run football clubs as opposed to just their managerial talent. I looked at Spurs, and yes, we didn't concede, but the players look scared to attack. They look rigid. They look like they're playing not to lose. We're very predictable. The football's cowardly. It's like get the ball to Kudus, and then he'll cut inside, whack a cross in that'll get cleared by a League Two defender.
The football's cowardly, John.
Well, yeah, because we're playing not to lose. And if you look at all the attackers, even Savi, who looks like a bit like a Chimu Ozil at the moment because he hasn't settled, he got the ball, and they're all looking for the easy pass and the safe pass. And, you know, they're not trying to win games. And that style of football will get you mediocrity. And, yes, we might have 10 years of Champions League, UEFA League, Champions League, UEFA League. But it'll be like Arsenal with Arteta. You won't win anything, like, playing that way.
So what do you want, John?
That way. Real Madrid don't.
What do you want?
I think we should have kept Ange. I think the results last season were a result of, by January, the league was gone. We weren't going to make Europe. That was his target. The squad was decimated. It was full of injuries, and the board didn't back him in January with signings to make up for those injuries. In the first 10 games Ange had, compared to Frank's, we destroyed every team for 10 games. When Ange had his first choice back four, which I think was for about 11 matches, we barely lost. I think we made a mistake. The players loved playing for him. The football was good. And last season was the result of what was able to be put out on the pitch, not him.
But, John, that ship has sailed. Are you going to give Thomas Frank time?
Well, we've got to now. But I think the realistic is, I think he's overhyped. And I think we have to accept that this is kind of like safe football. And we are looking at now, because you can only lose 10 games and still make the Champions League.
Okay.
Right? Only lose 10 games. It's not a lot. We're looking at UEFA at best this season, and I think we need to be okay with that. And it's probably going to take him 2 or 3 years to get anywhere back to Champions League level again if he keeps playing this not-to-lose football.
That is quite a call, John, actually. I'll put the points to Bradley, who's a Tottenham fan who's been waiting for a bit here. Bradley, good morning. What do you make of what John was saying there? Your football's cowardly. It's safe football.
I don't necessarily disagree. I was at the Bournemouth game, and it was like, even though we were at home, it was like we set out not to lose. I was at the Brighton game. We were awful in the first half. I don't necessarily have an issue with Thomas Frank, but what I would say is it's a different style of football to even what he was playing at Brentford. They were very counter-attacking. We don't have a goal scorer. There's nobody in that team that's going to score 15, 20 goals a season. Solanke's not good enough. Richarlison's not good enough. And I'm not a fan of Odebear. I don't think he's good enough either. And yeah, there's an element. We get forward, we try and walk the ball in, and we're not good enough to do that. You know, we need someone that's going to attack crosses from Kudus. And, you know, Xavi Simons, almost kind of what you were saying earlier about sort of Salah. It's, you know, at the moment, it's get him the ball and see what he can do with it.
Yeah, yeah. Richarlison not your man?
No, never has been.
Never has been.
Never good enough. I mean, he was okay at Watford. He was decent at Everton. I think this is probably, you know, a step too far for him. He's had a few years now.
Yeah.
He's lightweight. He's not cut out for the Premier League. Solanke's too injury prone. So where does 15, 20 goals come from?
Okay, good points, Bradley. I must admit, good points there. And I think they have a genuine case here, though, Simon, as to where the hell are goals going to come from? When you look at it, and so many Tottenham fans say to me when I'm out and about, Richarlison, forget it. He's not the man. He's not going to.
Maybe. I mean, they talk about the fact that Solanke's not a 20-goal merchant.
Yeah.
Someone would have asked you, would Jean-Philippe Mateta be scoring the goals that he's been scored recently? Mateta is probably the form striker of the division besides Haaland.
Sure.
So it's easy to make assessments of players based upon what you think or confirming the bias that you have, i.e. I don't think he's good enough, so subsequently I'm going to make sure that he isn't good enough in my mind's eye.
Yeah.
I think Solanke can score goals. I think he's as good as the service.
Yeah.
I think if the service is good for Solanke, then he'll get goals.
Okay, well, Spurs have taken 5 points from their opening games against Villarreal, Bodo Glimt and Monaco. They're 15th as it stands. No booing. Thomas Frank's just in the door. Jim White, Simon Jordan, live in talkSPORT with Selco, where the trade goes. Now then, we highlighted this yesterday. In the last 24 hours, it was announced that the planned Villarreal-Barcelona December La Liga match in Miami, Florida, had been postponed, with the promoters relevant citing uncertainty in Spain. I think I saw footage of the little Villarreal president last night hearing the news.
Is he little?
And being none too happy about it. Yeah, he looked like a little short fella. That is that. So that is gone, maybe not to be back. But it begs the question, what now for the game between Como and Milan in Perth next February? Because that's very much back in the spotlight, the Serie A match between Como and AC Milan. Is it going to go ahead, or is it going to go the same way as Villarreal-Barcelona? Because players, as Simon has alluded to, have come out and said, hang on a minute, all that travel to Miami, Florida, and then to Perth, Australia, we don't need that. And the players are saying, no, it's not for us. Italian football expert Daniele Fisichella joins us live. Daniele, good morning to you. What are you hearing? Como Milan, is it still on in Perth, Australia?
The European Union has officially asked the Italian FA yesterday to rethink the stance on this game via the European Commissioner for Cultural Sport, Glenn McAuliffe, who said, I hope Serie A will reflect on La Liga approach. And today, the Italian media are reporting the UEFA president, Alexander Seferin, is also putting pressure on Italian FA to backtrack and postpone or cancel the game. Is still not official, has to be remembered, because the fixtures are not published so far ahead. But at the moment, of course, after receiving the reluctant confirmation from UEFA and the permission last month, it seems that, of course, there is a lot of movement in this front.
I mean, there's been a lot of pushback to the Spanish one, Villarreal, Barcelona, from fans and players. What are fans and players saying in Italy? We know about Rabiot, of course, the Milan midfielder, who said it's crazy to travel so many miles for a match between two Italian clubs in Australia. Perth, Australia as well. You can't get further away than that, can you? We have to adapt as always, though. So Adrian Rabiot's not having it. Are other players speaking out against it too, Daniele?
His fellow Milan teammate Mike Magnan, the goalkeeper, also spoke against this idea, but both players have been rebuffed by the Italian FA president De Siervo, who basically said they're earning so much money, they shouldn't complain, and they should just go ahead with it. There have been no any more protests in terms of the players, nothing like what we've seen in La Liga, but surely fans are not happy. The fans of both Como and Milan are not happy. Como fans, only the second season in Serie A back-to-back, of course, they want to see this local derby. It's a Lombardy derby anyway. They want to see it at the San Siro. The Milan fans are not happy because it's very likely that Milan are going to be in the title race come February. And, you know, such a long trip, considering that Milan are not playing in Europe this season, it could have been rescheduled any other Wednesday, any other Thursday. The clubs, however, are really very much in favor of going to Perth because, as Como said by a statement last week, this is a necessary sacrifice to guarantee the Serie A survival. But this is a very political issue in Italy. And my feeling is that the politics in Italy are in favor for this game to go ahead. Also because there is a question of money. You know, it all comes down to this. The Western Australia government has invested or will invest around 12 million euros to organize the game. The funds are going to be split pretty much equally between the two clubs, Milan and Como. However, the remaining 18 clubs in Serie A are going to get a percentage of those money. Maybe it's £200,000 or something like that.
There's a spin-off.
Because these are the federation rules. So there is a vested interest also in the other clubs, not the big giants, of course, but the Cagliari, the Lecce, the Sassuolo of this world, who's, you know, they could benefit from this money. And of course, there is a big marketing operation as well.
I see. So from what Daniele is saying here, Serie A see this as a major opportunity. It may be to be the trailblazer. We're the ones who set it off running.
Well, all the domestic leagues in Europe that trail in the wake and the fumes of the Premier League are looking at ways to create different opportunities, not just the individual revenue per game, but to be able to build out the reputation of their clubs around these territories so that the broadcast deals, that when they sell their football, becomes bigger and more scalable. So it's not just the 12 million they can get for a game or not get for a game. It's about the opportunity to reintroduce the broadcasting rights from Serie A into these territories by putting their football clubs into those spaces and increasing the awareness of them. I mean, the Italian football clubs are great clubs. You listen to, I spent time in America with Charlie Stilintano, who's was involved with relevant sports, and they are the ones that really drove this initiative. They're the ones that overturned FIFA, because FIFA were the ones that stopped people from being able to do it. They took FIFA and US Sport to the courts, and they got a judgment which basically moved FIFA out of the way. FIFA went, we'll drop out, as we don't want to be part of this. That's why they were able to play in America. I'm not for this. I've never been for this. Where my attitude has been, it's going to happen. I understand the fans' perspective, and in fact, I appreciate the fans' perspective. The people that I don't appreciate and don't care for is the players and their perspective. Not because I want to be some land baron that dictates to the players. They sign a contract to play. What are they going to tell you next? They don't want to go on a pre-season tour because they think that's too far. Well, they're going to tell you next that when the Champions League finals played in the country they don't fancy going to, if they're a Champions League player, they don't fancy playing there.
So you listen to the fans but not the players?
Because the players have signed a contract which details that they're employed by the football clubs to play where the football clubs deem it necessary for them to play.
Even if it's the other side of the world?
Again, I make the point. Deem it where the clubs deem it necessary to play the games to be able to reward the players. The fans are the ones that pay. They're the ones that provide the support to the players through the gate receipts, through the TV broadcasting revenues, and through the advertising dollar.
So you do listen to fans?
Of course you listen to fans.
Activists.
Of course you listen to fans. It's not about activism. It's about whether they've got a valid point. A guy comes on, talks about he's unhappy with West Ham. No problem. Starts telling me he wants someone to come and buy a football club and build a £3 billion stadium. Get lost.
Yes, thank you for that. Daniele, before you leave us, I heard you say there that Como, for one, see the game in Perth, Australia as pivotal regards the overall survival of Serie A. Is it that important?
Well, for them it is, and going back to what Simon says, absolutely. Serie A is lagging behind the Premier League, La Liga, and I would say even the Bundesliga in terms of their ability to attract key players, to retain them, to pay high wages. And it comes down to the TV rights money. The TV rights money in Italy are one of the lowest probably in the big five Europe. Only France probably is lower than that. So obviously opening up and expanding to a new market is really important. A couple of years ago, Milan and Roma played a friendly in Perth in the very same stadium. 56,000 people attended, and it was a pre-season friendly. So obviously there is a big appetite for European football at those latitudes. And Como in particular, who are owned by foreign investments, they got big ambitions. They got Thierry Henry on their boards of directors and investors, and of course up-and-coming Cesc Fabregas. See this is a massive opportunity to bring the name of the city and the club somewhere else, which can only benefit to them. But my feeling is that we haven't heard the final word on this matter.
What's your gut feeling? You've been in the business a long time, Daniele. Como, Milan and Perth next February, Perth, Australia. Does it happen, yes or no?
Today, I would say 90% it happens.
90% it happens. Okay. Daniele Fisichella, thank you so much for that. So Serie A hoping to do something that La Liga are now no longer doing. Maybe the Premier League will follow. We shall see. We'll keep an eye on it. It's 11 o'clock.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Commercial vehicles that go the distance for your business. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With the headlines at 2 minutes past 11, I'm Nick Ellaby. Good morning. Arne Slot's still got a puzzle to figure out. Gabby Agbonlahor says Mo Salah will be fuming about being benched for Liverpool. Meanwhile, Alexander Isak picked up a fresh groin injury in the 5-1 win over Frankfurt. But we're told it doesn't matter if Isak's fit or not. Hugo Ekitike must start. The Daily Mail's Merseyside writer Dom King's comparing Ekitike to some Anfield greats.
Think of Suarez, Sami Hyypiä, Xabi Alonso. When they came in, you kind of knew within 2 games what they were going to be contributing. This lad's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant.
And after Florian Wirtz finally got an assist, Didi Haman's hoping he's not another Veron.
I always say Veron came to the Premier League, I think 20 odd years ago, and he lasted 1 season. He came as the best midfielder, so there's no guarantee things going to work out. But I just think he's too good to fail.
Liverpool away at Brentford is live on talkSPORT this Saturday night. Tonight we've got Nottingham Forest versus Porto in the Europa League. Former Forest manager Chris Hughton's backing Sean Dyche to be a success.
The position that the club are in at the moment and where they are in the league, somebody like Sean and Sean's past and the good jobs that he's done, the background that he has and his staff, at this moment I think it's a perfect fit.
Meanwhile, Aston Villa at Go Ahead Eagles is the early kick-off on talkSPORT 2 today. Crystal Palace's Conference League game at home to Cypriot side AEK Larnaca is live on talkSPORT 2 from 7:45. And England's third T20 in New Zealand's been rained off. It means Harry Brooks' side take the series 1-0. Live coverage of the ODI starts in the small hours of Sunday morning on talkSPORT 2 and the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel.
talkSPORT News.
A leading Kremlin figure claims US sanctions against Russia's 2 biggest oil companies are an act of war, and Tess Daly and Claudia Wilcombe are quitting strictly. More with the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Come rain or shine, we've got your electric car covered with 400 EV ready centres, so you can drive away happy every time.
Persistent rain across England and Wales slowly clearing to the east. Scattered showers elsewhere, some heavy rain, thundery, windy and feeling colder as Storm Benjamin arrives.
Good morning, everybody. It is 5 minutes past 11 o'clock this Thursday morning, Thursday, October the 23rd. It's Jim White and it's Simon Jordan, and we are live on talkSPORT. Just got a message there. The bosses of Strictly want to know, can you and I do a Zoom call at 6 o'clock tonight?
Indeed.
Following Tess and
I can see you replacing, is it Bruno Tonali? I can see you.
Okay, I'm there.
It's right up your street.
Sequins a lot. Count us in. Zoom call at 6.
Doing your best Paul O'Grady impression.
We are with you all the way through until 1 o'clock. Spencer Oliver will be joining us somewhat earlier than normal, is he not? He's coming in. He's joining us about half past 11. There's a press conference regards Wardley Parker, and Spencer's coming in that bit earlier.
Is he? Upsetting people at the moment, Spencer, isn't he?
In the studio here in the 17th floor of the news building, live in talkSPORT, courtesy of Selcourt's Where the Trade Goes. We are talking a whole bunch of things. In Europe last night, good result for Chelsea. They pretty much blew Ajax away. 5-1, they won that. And now they've got Sunderland at home at Stamford Bridge this weekend. Interesting one, that. We'll see how that goes. But of course, we are getting used to the idea that it's Enzo Maresca who is guiding Chelsea from match to match, and we'll see how that goes in the fullness of this season. But one of their most famous sons, John Terry, will John Terry ever be considered a serious candidate for management? John has said it's his, quote, dream to manage Chelsea one day, but he finds it difficult to fathom that he's been knocked back from roles due to inexperience. Now, he posted this on TikTok, right? He's driving about. I don't know who he's talking to in the passenger seat, but he's gushing forth about his thoughts about management.
I'm not sure it ever happens, to be honest. It's my one last dream I've got at the football club to kind of achieve. I've done everything at Chelsea. Yeah. And for me now, the one thing that's missing is being manager of the football club. Hence why I went into coaching after I finished, because my idea and dream was to kind of go out, learn my trade a little bit. As a player, like, you retire after 22 years playing, and listen, 100% you learn enough to go into management. Playing the level I played at and the managers that I played under, it doesn't give you the right to just go into management at a certain level. You still have to learn and understand what it takes, and like, there's a lot more goes into the coaching side of it. So I went away and learned my trade, and then I had some unbelievable times at Villa, and then left Villa to then be a number one. I thought I was ready. I think I would be a really good number one personally. I enjoyed the coaching side of it, but I never got the buzz of coaching of going, oh, this is where I'm at, me. Like, I want people around me that are better coaches than me. I never see myself as like an unbelievable coach, but I would get better coaches around me, and then I'd like to lead like I did the dressing room and the team, really, for me. But
about man management as well.
I think so, more so nowadays. I think the players, and that's what I've done for 22 years at the club. So I know I'll be good at it. Will I get the chance? I'm not sure, without doing all the other bits. But when people keep telling you you've got no experience, it's difficult to kind of fathom. But
I don't know who's chatting to John in the background. Maybe picked up a hitchhiker at a recent roundabout or something. But anyway, that was the discussion they had. When you think of it, John made over 700 appearances for Chelsea, won 5 Premier League titles. He spent 3 seasons as assistant manager of Villa. That was under Dean Smith, before taking up coaching roles at Leicester and Chelsea, where he works part-time. What do you make of where he's going with that? Because of his vast experience.
I mean, I would say that's a sort of carpool karaoke. It's not. It's a carpool TED Talk. He's got a new format, John. He's created a new broadcasting format, carpool TED Talks. I mean, I like John Terry. I've always liked John Terry. I tried to sign John Terry on loan from Chelsea, and Ken Bates gave me a lovely little an epithet, an epithet of what he thought I should do with that particular idea. And
what, when it was a young John Terry?
Yeah. And then I saw him playing a pre-season friendly against us, and he was just an absolute class footballer, class centre-back, class leader. And I had him on up front, and he did one of his first big interviews with me about 18 months ago, and he was really, really good. He is, to me, the embodiment of football leadership on a field. He was a leader. There's some controversies around John, but there's controversies with lots of people. But as a footballer, as a leader, first of all, he was a Rolls Royce of a player. Second of all, he was a first-class leader. And so if I was a football club owner, would I interview John Terry? Yeah, I would. I would interview John Terry. If I was a Premier League football club owner, would I interview John Terry for a job if it was his first job? Probably not. Do I get the sense from John there's a burning intensity to be a football manager? I'm not sure. I'm not sure I do. And that's not me trying to be unkind. I think John's been remarkably successful. I think he's absolutely right in talking about the fact that he's been in the dressing room with some of the best managers in the world. There is a difference between hearing something and replicating what you're instructed to do as a footballer and leading players when you're no longer playing anymore. And you can't lead by example. You've got to lead by the fact that people believe in what you're saying, and you can get people to drink sand rather than water, because that's what you need them to do.
You see, that's interesting to me, because you've interviewed a lot of people over a lot of years. Yeah. You detect, or you wonder, you question whether or not the desire is there in John.
Well, I mean,
why?
I think there's certainly a desire to manage Chelsea, because ultimately what that football club means to him, what his achievements were there, how long he was there for, and how much he's invested and involved in it. If you talk to John, bang, put 50p in John, talk to him about Chelsea, he lights up like a pinball machine, because he's motivated by Chelsea, he's enthused by Chelsea. He'll tell you about the young players in Chelsea. He'll tell you about the evolution of this new manager's opportunity. Right? I question the reality of saying to John, well, you can't manage Chelsea at this moment in time because you've not got the credentials to do it, because they appoint people that have achieved things in management terms, and you have to achieve something now, which means you have to go somewhere else and do it.
But likewise, did Frank Lampard have the credentials to manage Chelsea when he arrived?
Frank Lampard went to Derby and took an opportunity further down the pyramid. Now, I don't know if John has really, and I'm not wanting to speak out of school because I'm a huge John Terry admirer, you know, except when I play paddle with him. I don't admire that at all. But on the other side of it, I look at it and go, does he really want to do what it takes to be a manager? Does he really want to do it at a level which, A, effectively creates an outcome for him that enables him to manage a Chelsea?
Yeah.
Because Maresca went to Leicester. He didn't get given a Chelsea job. He went to Leicester in a club that was in a little bit of decline, built them up, got them promoted and got his opportunity. Now, if John is prepared to do that and wants to interview on that basis and walk in a room, because I've sat in a room with him and talked to him about football and listened to him, and I get the feeling there's immense substance there.
Well, you did, Simon, and you did on your show up front, and you're right, because John flirted with the idea of management in your discussion with him on this, and you really get into it. Have a listen.
See yourself now as a manager?
Yeah, 100%.
Right,
yeah,
okay.
100%. And I think a lot of people see themselves as coaches, or they'll be good coaches. I'm not sitting here saying I'm the best coach. As a manager, I feel that's what I've done for the last 22 years, is manage people, manage the dressing room. And I think if ever, more than today, it's about managing people, and that's what I've done, and that's what I feel I was best at in my career. So I find that hard, actually, that people are even having that thought. And again, this is where a little bit of me as a character, should I be going, I want this job, I'm throwing my hat in. I'm a little bit like, if someone wants me, I think they should come to me a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, you've probably got a different view on that. But I just think where I've been and the career I've had, I'm not saying I want to manage Chelsea Football Club. Yeah, no, as a player. But also that still carries a little bit of weight.
Of course it does. It gets you in the door.
Absolutely.
You don't get your job.
No, I know it doesn't. But then it's down to me then.
Right.
But after that meeting, it's down to me. It's on me.
I mean, does that mindset end up with John getting a job? A little bit. They should come to me, really.
No, that's not
as
going
opposed to me going to them.
Well, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. And you might want it to happen. Do I believe that John Terry could make a good football manager if he wanted to, if he really wanted to eat, sleep, and whatever else to be a football manager? Yeah, I do. Because the characteristics he exhibited as a player, if he can exhibit that same level of motivation, intensity, and refusal to accept defeat, then I think he can make a manager. And then he's got to surround himself with some very good people to make sure that as he's learning his trade of management, because it is John talks about managing the dressing room and managing players, and that's fantastic. And I make him right for some of the things he said. But there's a whole different set of rules when you're actually no longer part of a team.
Yeah.
You're the person that sits in isolation, making decisions about other people's futures. And most of the time, you're not in a popularity contest. There's two kinds of people in life. There's popular people and there's successful people. And it's amazing how popular you become when you're successful. So to be a football manager, to be popular, you've got to be successful, which means you've got to take the decisions that ultimately are sometimes very, very difficult. Now, going back to the point, do I think John Terry could be a football manager? Yeah, I do.
In the Premier League?
Well, we'll see, because he hasn't done it. Can't make that decision because it's a whole different set of rules. If you look at people and go, how do you get people to be successful? Well, get people to be successful. They're being successful in other walks of life. There's a distinct possibility they'll carry those characteristics into the next one. But to sit there and honestly, John, to suggest that you think people are going to come to you, no, it's not going to work that way. No. It doesn't work that way. No. You're going to have to put yourself in the way of it.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to exhibit the characteristics that you really want it. If you really want it, go get it. Because John Terry has all of the characteristics, in my view, to be a football manager. He's quite motivated by his own outcomes. He's quite centred on what he wants. And to some extent, that's the credentials of a football manager. But at the same time, you have to be uniquely aware of what gets people going in the right direction.
Is it valid to ask what might it not have happened by now?
Well, I don't know. Only John knows in his little TED talk that he was having with someone.
Yeah.
How many times John Terry has put himself in the way of an interview. I know he's had a couple of discussions with people about overseas jobs. I'm not going to be indiscreet and talk about that too much. But the fact of the matter is that if John really wants to do something, then he's got to apply himself. Now, if I was sat back at Crystal Palace and Palace were in the Championship and John Terry and I had a management vacancy, would I talk to John Terry? Yes, and John Terry's agent came on, or John Terry picked the phone up to me and said, look, I'd like to have a conversation about the job. But John's logic, he's saying, I won't do that. Then that's foolish, John, because you need to do that. And if I sat in a room with John Terry and I started to throw him management conundrums, not just leadership situations where John can exhibit the power of leadership, because I think he's a brilliant leader.
Yeah.
But real management conundrums about managing up, managing sideways and managing downwards and managing the media and all that goes with a management job now. And then you could start to see in that situation whether John Terry can manage a moderately big football club and then make the stepping stone to the club that he really wants to
It
manage.
can work that way, though. Is it not the case that you were phoning talkSPORT constantly, asking them to take
replace you? Oh, sorry, yeah, no, yeah.
All of a sudden, it's 11:15 and we're having fun. It's a Thursday morning and we're live in talkSPORT with Selco, where the trade goes.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Get ready for the golden era of sports betting. Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
And we're joined by Matt Gibson from BetMGM to look at today's top sporting events, discuss the odds round and about them. Matt, good morning to you. Before we start, I believe it's a double celebration for Sean Martin. His partner gave birth to their baby Luca on Monday, and apparently today is Sean's birthday. I mean, there's a lot of detail there. Do we need to know any of that? Really?
Got my ugly mug today rather than your favourite Sean, mate. So yeah, Luca came into the world on Monday, and Sean's celebrating a birthday today, and maybe, hopefully, 3 points for Celtic later. He should be on top of the world come about 9 o'clock tonight.
Congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Martin, baby Luca, and happy birthday to Sean. He's 45 today. Last night's Champions League action. Where are you going with that then, Matt?
Yeah, I think it's been a good week for English sides in the Champions League. 5 wins and a draw. Liverpool winning the game despite going behind, end run of four poor games. 5 goals scored without Salah on the pitch, maybe indicating a change of the guard at Liverpool. Probably the only negative last night, Isak and Frimpong pick up injuries. Interestingly, they've conceded 18 in 13 games in all comps this year. At the same time, after 13 games last year, they'd only shipped 7. So maybe a little bit leaky at the back for Liverpool this year. Chelsea, likewise, cruise control. I was talking to a Chelsea fan this morning, very, very underwhelmed with Ajax, and obviously they were down to 10 men for the majority of the game. But Chelsea really, really convincing. And Simon called it right. Spurs let the English threefold down. Monaco 0-0. From what I'm reading, I didn't watch it, but from what I'm reading, Vicario had a blinder in between the sticks and earned Spurs a point. Monaco also held City, so it's not a terrible result for Spurs. But the outright prices: Arsenal leading the way at 5s, Liverpool 7s, City 9s, and then the other 3 big prices: Chelsea 20-1, Newcastle 33s, and Spurs 40s. But all in all, good showing from the English sides this week, I think.
That's not a phrase we use often on the BetMGM spot. Simon called it right.
No,
but
that's absolutely right.
But you did.
Yes, I did. So I shall bask in that glory for a very short period of time before I get it wrong again.
Good for you. Forest and Rangers going to Europe under new management. Forest welcome Sean Dyche. Rangers welcome Danny Roll. It's Forest Porto, and we'll get to Rangers in a second. Forest Porto is live on talkSPORT, actually.
I think it's really tricky, isn't it, for Dyche here?
Yeah.
Excluding qualifiers, I think this is his first ever European match as a manager. Porto are one of the 7 teams in this competition who are 3 from 3. Forest still looking for the first win in Europe. It's a real baptism of fire. We've got them as slight favourites at 8-5 to win this evening. 21-10 the draw. Porto slightly bigger price at 9-5. If you think their form stands up, 9-5 could be a massive price. But Forest lads, it's really tricky, isn't it? The players have had so much turbulence, right? They went through the pre-season with Nuno and then the Ange thing for 40 odd days, and now Dyche coming in. It's got to be really hard for a training group of players to adjust, and they've not got any time. They've got a game tonight, and then they're back at it at the weekend, and Sturm Graz, Man United, Leeds coming next. Really, really tough for Dyche to get in there and make an immediate impact, isn't it?
You would think so. I mean, I would have thought, Simon, you know Dyche as well as me, it's a sort of start that he'll embrace.
Of course he will. Of course he will. It's an opportunity to play, and he's played in Europe before because he's at Burnley, didn't he, in 2018, 2019?
Yeah.
But notwithstanding that, it's a great opportunity to get on the front foot. And Sean will embrace it. So I don't listen. I'm not one of those that sits there with this idea that it's a terrible time for the players. Most players don't even know the manager's leaving because they couldn't care less. It's part of an occupational hazard. So they'll either play well or they won't. I think so. When I was watching the game on Saturday and I was watching Ange Postecoglou, I was thinking Matt Sells saved everything last year. Saved everything. And when
a couple in at the weekend.
When the second goal goes in from the free kick, I'm thinking to myself, when you're out of sorts and your luck is out as a manager and everything's going against you, the goalkeeper that couldn't not save everything last year, all of a sudden starts dropping goals in that you'd never think him to be done.
Yeah.
Look, I think Forest will go well tonight. I think they'll see a little bit of a bounce just because they will.
Okay. What about Danny Roll in Norway? They're up against Brann in Brann Stadium, funnily enough. And it's Danny Roll's first night. It's a big night. A lot of eyes on this, Matt.
Definitely. Rangers are 5-2 outsiders. Bran even money at home. We're actually looking at their season. Bran have actually played like 24, 25 games. So they're well into their season, and Rangers obviously started really slowly. New manager coming in. So Bran are probably in a bit of a groove, and Rangers are all at sea. We know how they're struggling domestically, I think, including qualifiers. They've lost the last 5, or the winless in the last 5 European matches. Managing Rangers is not easy, Jim, as I'm sure you'll tell me, but managing a struggling Rangers side, that is a hell of a job for a young manager. He's had testing circumstances at Wednesday to work under, but you think this is a different kettle of fish altogether.
Well, yes. I think he thoroughly knows what he's got involved in, though, Danny Rowell. I was quite impressed when I listened to him. But, I mean, as for Bran, they're all right, aren't they? They beat Utrecht recently, 1-0. They only lost away to Lille 2-1. So it's a decent test for Danny Rowell tonight. I don't know what we'll learn out of it. I mean, it's match 1.
He's been there for 5 minutes, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, I like him. I hope he gets given a fair shake at it, and that the default setting isn't to start creating a situation surrounding him, because we listen to people say he's a yes man.
Yeah.
You know, we've heard people like Josh Windass talk about him in a certain way, but it is different from managing a very difficult environment in Sheffield Wednesday, which we'll talk about in a different segment in the show about what's happening at Sheffield Wednesday, and managing a Rangers.
Yeah.
But I think this young man has got the ability to do quite well, and I hope that they embrace him and give him an opportunity to do so.
I hope so. Funnily enough, Russell Martin was in touch with me last night. He's away at the moment, and he will join you and I at some stage, he tells me, Simon. Looking forward to that. Villa, Celtic and Palace in action tonight. Villa and Palace both live in talkSPORT 2, Matt.
Yeah, the best of the rest in Europe. Villa taking on Go Ahead Eagles, which is undoubtedly the best named team in Europe.
Yeah.
They're big favourites at 11-25. Palace welcome Larnaca again, big favourites 1-6. Celtic Sturm Graz. Celtic are 13-25 to win the game. Sean Martin is 200-1 to be at Parkhead this evening with his new arrival, but he'll definitely be watching on telly. The 4-timer lads not dropping Forest in there, because I think Forest have got a real job on tonight. The 4-timer, Rangers, Villa, Celtic and Palace 13-2.
It's a tricky one, that. I wouldn't go for that.
No.
All the British clubs. We shall see. I've got a funny feeling Celtic will do it tonight, though. We'll watch with interest. Visit betmgm.co.uk. Download the app. 18+, begambleaware.org.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Keep things golden with responsible play at betmgm.co.uk. 18+, gambleaware.org.
A big step forward. That's what Liverpool's Champions League winning midfielder Didi Hamann has called last night's 5-1 win over Frankfurt.
A big boost for the confidence, and obviously Wirtz getting his first couple of assists, I think will be a lot of weight off his shoulders, and hopefully we see the best of him now.
Ekitike was good again, but Salah struggled off the bench. Meanwhile, Isak picked up another injury, and Arne Slot has shared his reaction.
You feel like, yeah, there must be a moment where he can play twice a week, and the first time we try, he did this in Sweden as well, but the first time we try, he has to go off.
Elsewhere, Enzo Maresca considers himself lucky to have Esteval, calling him a special talent. The winger was one of 3 teenagers to score in Chelsea's 5-1 dismantling of Ajax. Thomas Frank says Spurs are still learning the ropes of Champions League football. His side played out a goalless draw at Monaco. In the Championship, Rob Edwards says the quiet Hillsborough atmosphere made it harder for Middlesbrough to perform.
It did make it strange. It probably added more, in a weird way, added more pressure on us. And it probably made me feel a bit more pressured.
Borough are now second following their 1-0 win. The Wednesday fans stayed away in protest over the ownership. And a big thank you from everyone here at talkSPORT Towers today. The latest industry stats show 3.4 million of you are listening to the talkSPORT network.
Well, he's here earlier than usual, but he's here, and that is because Spencer Oliver has got a very busy afternoon ahead of him. He's heading down to a press conference down at the O2 Arena because we are now just 2 days away from a huge heavyweight clash. Fabio Wardley and Joseph Parker go head-to-head in a fight you can hear live on talkSPORT.
I'm happy that he put up his hand. There are a lot of fighters that say they want to fight, but they fight anyone. But they're just saying it, you know?
Past this fight is the Alexander Usyk fight, and that's not a massive fight. That is the fight. That is everything.
The winner of it will be the next challenger to Usyk.
He's a WBA mandatory. I'm WBO, but we're not going to sit around and wait. We want to be busy.
Big right hand there from Parker, and down goes McCauley. This is great work from Parker. The legs are completely gone of Wilder.
Big Joseph Parker.
I think this is a good example of we will fight anyone.
The real drama, the real excitement will come on the 25th.
Oh yeah, looking forward to this. And Spencer was down at the open workouts yesterday, and he heads to the press conference this afternoon. Before he does that, he stopped by and he's joined Simon and myself here in the studio of the 17th floor of the news building. I have no idea why I said it like that. But anyway, you have, and I'm delighted that you have. Spencer, good afternoon. Oh, good morning. Good morning. See, this is it. We're not in the afternoon yet. Hi, Spenny. How are both fighters shaping up?
Both fighters are shaping up very well. Look, they both know what's on the line, and that is a potential fight with Alexander Usyk. You know, they're putting their positions on the line, but I love it from both guys, you know, that they're not protecting that position because they could wait it out and wait for the opportunity, but they've decided to stay busy, going against each other. And it's a fascinating fight, this one. Joseph Parker is proven at world level. We know that. And, you know, you might talk about some of the opponents like Zhale Zhang and Deontay Wilder in recent times saying, well, were they past their best? You go, that's easy to say after the event, but going in there was a lot of emotional pressure on Joseph Parker. He'd come through those with flying colours. And now Fabio Wardley, you know, undefeated in 20 fights, 18 of those inside the distance. And you look at this and you go, he's never boxed at this level. Yeah. This is a huge opportunity for him and a massive step up. It's a fascinating fight.
I mean, they're two likeable guys. There's no trash talking. There's a lot of respect. There's no villain, if you like. Who do you think the boxing public are behind more?
Well, I think the fight's taking place in the UK, so it's got to be Fabio Wardley. But Joseph Parker, you know, I think that people appreciate, any boxing fan appreciates what Joseph Parker's done in the past. You look at, you know, his record, the people that he's gone up against, and he's sort of like boxed the who's who. So you've got to respect that as well. And he's a lovely guy, Joe Parker, a really nice guy, very infectious when you're around him. Like I say, as is Fabio Wardley. It's one of those fights that you're not going to get all the trash talk. Yeah. It's not that. But what you will get from both of these guys is a fight, because both of them, you know, that's what they do.
Who gets you going more, Simon? Wardley or Parker? Going into it?
Well, I just think it's a great fight. It's not about who gets you going more. I think it's going to be an interesting one because Fabio steps into a level that he hasn't fought at before. We heard Ben Davison talking about the idea of Justice Hooney being potentially, in his mind, a better fighter than Joseph Parker, and that they were never going to bank any rounds against Justice Hooney, and they might bank some against Joe Parker, which I think both you and I raised our eyebrows about. I just think there's a compelling outcome in this fight. Various people are looking at it in certain ways.
You used to think Joseph Parker was a bore fest.
No, I thought Joseph Parker in the fight against Anthony Joshua was a bore fest, and I've said it to Joseph himself. I've also said that in recent times. Well, because you can't throw him under the bus, because I said it to him directly, so you can't get away with that one.
All right.
But the fact of the matter is that Joe Parker, since probably aligning himself with Andy Lee, has changed the direction of travel. He's always been a very talented fighter that is heavy-handed when he wants to be, but he didn't step in. Now he does, and he lets his hands go. Fabio Wardley has an equaliser. He can knock anybody out. And this is the interesting thing. He's got to make a dent in Joe Parker, I think, in this fight relatively early to start moving Joe off whatever game plan he's got.
Yeah.
But I just think it's a really, really good fight.
I noticed you, Spencer, and I think it was Gareth, wasn't it? Gareth A. Davis. You sat down, you've had a chat with Joseph Parker, and Parker began this little section of the chat by analysing the challenge of Fabio Wardley.
For each fight, he gets better and better. You know, he is improving. He hasn't had the amateur pedigree or background to bring with him in the professional game, but each fight he's getting better and better. So I do have to be wary of that power and have to be, like Andy says, switched on every second of every minute of every round. It's a must.
What did you take from his last fight against Justice Hooney? Pullman Road, it was his big homecoming, and it didn't start off particularly well for him, and he had to dig deep and he rounded it out, but he proved that he's got that champion's heart where he stuck in there, and you know how hard it is to get how hard it is to keep motivated through those times, Joe, you know, when the rounds are going against you. What do you take from that performance?
You could see that he believed in himself, even right till we got the punch, you know, because if he didn't believe in himself, he could have just felt sorry for himself. He could have just, you know what, I'm just going to go on the defense and not get knocked out. But he chose to believe right until he got that punch, the big right hand.
Do you, when you look at your career over the next 2 years, you win this on Saturday night, could you outline for us perhaps the 4 targeted fights you'd like to have?
Yeah, listen, win this fight on Saturday night, and then who else is there? Usyk?
Joshua again?
Joshua would be good.
Would you really like that?
Yeah, I'd love to fight, avenge those losses. You know, there's the Joshua one, Dillian White, but he's come off a loss now with Moses Tuma. Then you got Joe Joyce. He's not really doing as well as he was before. So the Joshua one will still be, but Usyk is key. Usyk is what every heavyweight wants to aim for.
Do you think we will see Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua next year in your heart of hearts?
In my heart of hearts, I don't know.
Really?
I honestly do not know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Have you spoken?
I wish I
recently.
Be awesome to see, but yeah, I have spoken to Tyson.
What's his feeling at the moment?
He's just enjoying his family time and is training every day for his mental health and enjoying life.
WBO interim title is on the line, and I think that is the next one to be mandated from Alexander Usyk. So he will have to make that decision to either let that title go there where you're elevated then to world champion. I know you wouldn't like to do it that way. You'd like a shot at Usyk. But that's the reality of what's on the line here, right, Joe? Look,
Yeah.
You come through this one, you either become world champion off the back of it,
or you fight Usyk. So whoever wins this fight, it's a big deal for myself and Fabio Wardley.
Intriguing stuff. It's a step up, Spencer, for Wardley. What is Fabio to Parker?
I think he's just a dangerous guy because there's a lot of unknowns about Fabio Wardley because he's not stepped up to world level before. You know, you look at his record and you go, like, he won the British title against Nathan Gorman, and that was a few years ago, and he's gone on from strength to strength. He's arguably his best win is against Justice Hooney last time out, but that was not going his way. David Adelaide was a good win. Fraser Clark also was a good win, but that's not at that level. It's not at world level. So we just don't know whether Fabio can do it or not. And that's the fascinating thing about this fight, because he has got the equaliser. But people must not underestimate Joseph Parker's power as well. 18 of his first 21 fights come inside the distance before he boxed for the world Title and won that fight against Andy Ruiz Jr.
No big names in there, Spencer.
No, but there's no real big names in Fabio's either.
No, it was interesting what Fraser Clark said. No, there's no doubt in our minds that Fraser Clark Fabio hasn't fought at the level that Joe Parker has, and hasn't got the longevity of a career. Right? But it was interesting what Fraser talked about, and I know that we're talking about levels, and Fraser and Joe Parker are not on the same level, but Fraser was talking about the unorthodox nature of Fabio Wardley and the way he throws punches and how unpredictable it is, because as a fighter, you are conditioned to expect certain things, knowing what fighters should and shouldn't do. And given that Fabio's background, he throws punches that perhaps he shouldn't throw.
Yeah. The unpredictability is always difficult to work out, and when you've got the power that Fabio's got, when you're not expecting the shot and you get nailed, that's when you're in big trouble. So yeah, that is a key factor.
We'll hear from the Usyk camp in a moment, but the rewards here are huge, Spencer, aren't they? A potential clash with Usyk. Do either of these two, Wardley or Parker, beat Usyk?
That's a tough call. I mean, going off what we saw for Alexander Usyk, you say Usyk would start a firm favourite, a heavy favourite going into that one. Look, it's heavyweight boxing, of course. Both of these guys can whack a little bit, but you got to hit someone like Usyk, who's not just a generational great, he's an all-time great in my eyes. If he retired tomorrow, he'd go down in history as one of the greatest to ever do it. So that's a tough call. I think that it's all about the opportunity, Jim. That's what these guys are looking for.
That's a no.
You want to box?
That's a no.
Yeah, I would say.
Beats Usyk.
I would say neither of these beats Usyk's. No.
You agree?
No.
Simon?
Difficult to see, isn't it? I mean, the only thing that you can potentially legislate for is whether Usyk's had fights that have taken a lot out of him. The last fight against Daniel Dubois showed no indication of that, because Daniel didn't ask him any questions. But the fact of the matter is that if he's getting older, there might be that challenge. But I can't make a very strong case for either one of these guys being able to dethrone Alexander Usyk if he's anywhere near what he's been previously.
If you look at the ease that Alexander Usyk beat Daniel Dubois, the manner that he beat Daniel Dubois, and you go, well, look, put the winner in of these with a Daniel Dubois before he boxed Usyk, and you go, who would start favourite in that? You go, that's where we're at here.
Yeah.
So, if you look at the difference between Usyk, the golfing class between Usyk and Daniel Dubois,
and then you go, Joe Parker in January versus Daniel Dubois, I might have had that question answered.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's get a brief prediction from both of you before we hit a break. Wardley, Parker, where's it won and lost?
I think with Joseph Parker, he's very clever. He's got that experience, and he's got that equaliser as well. Underestimated punch power, and that might be Wardley's undoing if he tries to get too greedy. But I think, for Joseph Parker, he tries to control the space, land the shots, find the holes, set the traps, and he wins the fight. But for Fabio Wardley, it's all about landing that right hand, getting in range, and that unpredictability, and landing a shot when Parker's not expecting it. If Parker sits there too long, leaves himself open, then anything can happen. Two big punches. I'm leaning towards Parker.
Are you leaning towards Joe Parker on a points decision, or do you think he stops Fabio?
I think that Joseph Parker wins on a points decision.
I think that's a smart money.
Yeah.
I think that's a smart money.
Points decision.
Yeah. I mean, all I want is the two boys to have a really good fight and both of them come out with their reputations intact. Because even if we go down the camp of taking the conventional thinking that it's going to be a reach for Fabio, if Fabio goes and puts in a credible performance, a really credible performance, then it doesn't hurt his career in any shape or form.
Wardley, Parker, Saturday night, it's live on talkSPORT. Stay with us. We're live with you right now on talkSPORT with Selco, where the trade goes.
Boxing update on talkSPORT with DAZN, the global home of boxing. Buy now at dazn.com/boxing.
So as you know, this Saturday, former heavyweight champion and the current WBO interim champion Joseph Parker takes on the WBA interim heavyweight champion Fabio Wardley live from the O2. The winner all but guarantees themselves a shot at one of the undisputed champion Alexander Usyk's belts. Watch it live Saturday only on DAZN. While Spencer and Simon were chatting during that break, producer Luke was in the talkSPORT kitchen making me a lemsip, which was lovely of him. Because Spencer, as you can probably hear, I'm struggling a bit today, but because of the importance of the show and the massive audience figure we get these days, I'm in. Anyway, I digress. Frank Warren has said, Spencer, Simon, that his December 13 card in Manchester featuring heavyweights is going to be announced sometime on Saturday, when we know Fabio Wardley is going to be doing battle with Joseph Parker. So somewhere along the lines on Saturday, we're going to find out who Derek Chisora will face in his 50th and final professional fight in Manchester on December the 13th. But then David Hay appears to have let the cat out of the bag on this by confirming seemingly that Chisora will face Dillian White on that night, December the 13th in Manchester. What do we know, Spencer?
Well, listen, David Hay said it, hasn't he? He said that's the fight that he thinks that's happening. That's the fight that's probably available to Derek Chisora. The first two fights, they were barn burners, to be fair. The first fight, You know, I mean, we're going back a couple of years now, but the first fight, split decision, controversial. Did Derek get it? Did Dillian get it? Second fight, 11th round KO, but Derek was up until that point. And you go, Derek probably wants another bite of the cherry. He fancies that, you know, Dillian White coming off that first round demolition to Moses Atauma. You go, look, why not? This is the opponent that's available. Would we watch it? I would. I think the styles make fights. Them two gel really well. I've seen some mental sparring sessions with them two as well, by the way, in the gym.
Really?
Yeah, going at each other. So yeah, look, I think it's a decent fight. I don't mind it at this stage of his career. 50 and out. You know, Dillian White, they've got history together. Why not?
Is Dillian White a fitting end for Derek Chisora on which to take a 50th and out bow?
Not particularly.
I thought you were going to say that.
I mean, depends what Dillian White goes into the ring. I mean, we had this conversation, me and Derek, a few years ago, didn't we, about the third Derek Chisora Dillian White fight, and I said at the time I didn't want to see it then. And that's when myself and Derek had that, you know, that back and forward years ago. So I can't hardly say now I want to see it.
Yeah.
And given what I've seen from Dillian, which was I saw somebody with no real spirit in that fight. I know it's easy for me to say I don't have to go into the ring, but I can only look at what I saw, and what I saw was none of the energy, none of the intensity, all of the things that the pundits that Dillian was pushing back at during the course of the week, didn't know what they were talking about, all of the things that people said would manifest themselves, did. And as difficult as it is to go against Moses Atauma, I expected a little bit more from Dillian, and what I saw was somebody coming into the ring with no intensity. And yes, and you know, he got hit with a good shot, and it would knock out most people. But the fact of the matter is that Dillian White is not the Dillian White that fought Derek Chisora 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. So if you're asking me, is it a fitting end, given that Derek's on a decent run of form and clearly wants to have, you know, a grandstanding opportunity, and none of us believe that it's Derek's last fight anyway, but let's just say for the purpose of this conversation it is,
Do you not?
then no.
Do you not?
No. Do you?
It depends how the fight goes. I think that
if Derek were to win the fight and an opportunity exists, Derek will be back in the ring.
And then we've got a different conversation, for sure.
Whoever he fought.
But back in the ring for what?
But
more money.
I've spoke to Derek about this, actually. I've spoke to him on a few occasions about this.
Fight after this.
I don't think I think that in his own mind right now, this is it. This is the 50 and out, you know, that he recognises that it has to stop at some point.
Yeah,
of course, he wanted that world title opportunity.
If White, he's not back into title contention, is he?
No, but he's IBF number one challenger.
So we'd have
number
to go
two
through
challenger. So he's in the mix. He's certainly in the mix.
So Derek is in line for a shot at the IBF title.
Hence you don't think it would be over?
The number one is vacant at the moment, and he's got the number two spot. So he's in.
Here's another question, though, Spencer. Why is it that on December the 13th, nobody has stepped up to say, I'll fight him, Moses Atauma? In actual fact, we thought Kubrat Pulev was going to be fighting him, but the WBA ordered Pulev to fight Atauma, the number one contender. Now it's been announced the same Kubrat Pulev is not going to be fighting Atauma. He's going to defend his WBA regular heavyweight belt against Murat Gassiev in Dubai.
Yeah.
So Michael Hunter was another potential opponent for Moses Atauma. He's now going to be fighting a guy called Eli Frankham on Friday, December the 5th at York Hall. So, I mean, where is this going? Because time is running out now, and it seems no one's going to be available to fight Atauma.
Well, I think that it's, you know, when these negotiations are happening, certain fighters price themselves out of the equation, and that's what's happened with Michael Hunter, who's a good fighter, and it's a good opportunity for him.
Pulev.
But yeah, absolutely, and Pulev as well. You know, Pulev now boxing on an IBA show out in Dubai.
Too much money.
And yeah, maybe they price themselves out of the equation because that's, you know, ultimately it is a business. And I can see someone like Jermaine Franklin coming in for this fight. I think that someone of that sort of nature, Jermaine Franklin took Anthony Joshua 12 rounds, but a lot of people felt that he was robbed against Dillian White as well. And you go, he might be the guy to give someone like Moses the rounds. But we're running out of names.
Michael Hunter can't be that money motivated when he's ending up fighting Frankham in York Hall.
The problem you got, Jim,
it's risk reward.
Yeah, it's the problem you got, mate, is that you're going against Moses Atauma, and these heavyweights are not stupid. They go, if I'm going to put my neck on the line against this young heavyweight superstar, I want paying for it, and that's basically where it's at. Moses
to think like that.
So, sometimes you can be too good for your own good, and Moses falls into that category.
But by the same token, I mean, Michael Hunter's not very active. So despite the fact he's a decent name on your resume, he's not a particularly active fighter. But it would make a noise, and again, Moses will go in and knock him out. In the same way that Kubrat Pulev is a name, but there's not a lot behind that name now. He's 44 years of age.
But he's got a WBA strap, that's the importance.
Sure, but in terms of what we learn about Moses, I'd expect Moses to go in there and knock Kubrat Pulev into the next week.
I mean, people are going to get bored, Simon, hanging about forever for Moses Atoma to fight somebody that's going to give him a challenge.
It'll get there. He'll get there.
I definitely agree with that. I think that, look, Moses Atoma, I think we all agree about this, that he is the next big thing in British boxing. He's going to be there for a long time. The kid can fight. He's got a little bit of everything, and he's a nice guy outside the ring as well. So it's just about that journey, trying to get him those rounds before, he steps up. But sometimes if you're that good, you're going to have to let him go. And I think that Frank accepts that as well. But they just can't get someone to fight. No one wants to fight the guy. That's the reality of it.
Who's the best matchmaker and handler of fighters in the heavyweight division? Frank Warren. Moses Atoma will fight people. Moses Atoma will be on his pathway, and we'll see Moses Atoma in the right direction of travel pretty soon.
Okay. Well, we're talking, where are we now? Well through October. Less than 8 weeks away, and we still don't know. Anyone fancy going in with Moses Atoma? Not here, that's for sure. It's 12 noon.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range, helping business owners to work better and live better. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With your headlines at 1 minute past 12, I'm Nick Ellaby. Good afternoon. Didi Hamann hopes we've seen a turning point for Florian Wirtz at Liverpool. He finally got an assist in the 5-1 Champions League win at Frankfurt, but Hamann says Wirtz still has it all to do back home.
The games in the Champions League are not as frantic and quickly and physical as it is in the Premier League. He's got to show that form in the Premier League as well. He hasn't done it so far. He showed glimpses. And as Al said, it's a tough game on Saturday.
Liverpool away to Brentford's live on talkSPORT on Saturday night. Frimpong and Isak are both injury doubts for that one, which might mean Salah returns to the starting lineup. Gabi Agbonlahor says the Egyptian will be fuming.
I could tell by body language and his face when he was coming on. If I'm reading Mo Salah's face, I'm reading someone that's saying in his head, how dare you, after all I've done for this football club, how dare you put me on the bench?
Spurs have a new non-executive director on the board. Eric Hinson is a former US Navy officer and pilot. He becomes the fifth member of what Spurs describe as a refreshed and modernised board. And we're hearing reports that UEFA President Alexander Ceferin is putting pressure on the Italian FA to cancel their planned overseas game. AC Milan versus Como is slated to happen in Perth, Australia in February. Italian journalist Daniele Fisichella told White and Jordan a final decision could all come down to cash the Western Australia government's investing.
12 million euros to organize the game. The funds are going to be split pretty much equally between the two clubs, Milan and Como. However, the remaining 18 clubs in Serie A are going to get a percentage of those money.
More at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
An act of war is the reaction from the Kremlin to US sanctions against Russia's biggest oil companies, and Tess Daly and Claudia Winkleman are leaving Strictly Come Dancing. There's more from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. With over 600 centres across the UK, most of which open 7 days a week, we're always there when you need us. QuickFit. Drive away happy every time.
Rain across England and Wales slowly clearing to the east, scattered showers elsewhere. Windy with severe gales possible along eastern coasts, feeling colder as Storm Benjamin arrives.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is 4 minutes past 12 noon. It's Jim White and it's Simon Jordan, and it's Spencer Oliver. Spencer arrived on the scene earlier than usual this Thursday lunchtime because he's heading off down to the O2, where there will be a press conference ahead of Fabio, Wardley, Joseph Parker, which takes place down at the O2 on Saturday night. So Spencer is out of here sooner than later. Hence he arrived early. Hence he's still with us, but hence he'll be going fairly shortly. A lot to get through in the final hour today, not just while Spencer is with us. Simon and I will finish off today as normal. Of course we will. But I want to get to this, because when I heard about this, I was slightly worried. And of course, the gentleman involved, when I explain it, is going to be joining us live in a second. The Welsh boxer, Liam Williams, says he is ready to get back in the ring and he's ready to fight again. This is Liam Williams 12 months after retiring due to receiving several concussions, due to blows that he took to the head. And of course, there and then, people were concerned for Liam, and Liam announced his retirement. But now Liam is saying, that's gone, that moment is over, and I want to reverse the decision to quit and get back inside the ring and fight again. So many would say, Liam, what are you doing? The 33-year-old who won British, European and Commonwealth titles, having said he's retiring, is now no longer retiring, but a lot of people, no doubt, will be worried about Liam's decision to go back and fight again. And one of those who no doubt will be worried is right here in this studio, Spencer Oliver. We'll get to Spencer in a second, but Liam joins us live in the show. Liam, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, guys. Hope you're all well.
Great. And you look great. We're watching you live in the feed that's coming into us, because obviously these days, Liam, the show, not just on talkSPORT Radio, but we're live on your TV. So it's live everywhere and people are watching the show as well as listening to it. So Liam, first off, when and why did you make this decision to go back in the ring and fight again? Because that is what you intend to do, am I right?
Yeah, of course, mate. I mean, obviously, I knocked it on the head back, let's just say 8 months ago, roughly, yeah. I had a lot of problems going on. Don't get me wrong, I had a concussion, which was then followed by another concussion not so long after. I boxed Eubank with a concussion. Should obviously very stupid of me, to be honest with you, and that's my own doing, but, you know, I'll take that on the chin. Yeah, so obviously it was that kind of stuff was worrying me, but I never really had much of a rest since I did have that concussion, and I felt like it played a part moving on. And
but Liam, if I can jump in, you fought Eubank, am I right? Suffering the effects of a concussion and against medical advice, but you did it because, quote, you didn't want to let your fans down.
Yeah, of course. I got told like this is a no go. It ain't that well. It shouldn't be happening. And I'm big enough and stupid enough to hold my hands up and go, maybe I was wrong. But at the time, I thought, nah, I'm not listening to these guys. I'm gonna do me, and I'm gonna go out there and get the win. But obviously, it didn't work out that way for me.
Liam, I respect you as a person, mate, as you know that. And, I've respected what you've achieved in the ring as well. British, Commonwealth, European, boxing for world titles, all of that sort of stuff. You've been a great ambassador for the sport. But and I know, at 33 years of age and the effects that you've been having, concussions and passing out before fights, etc., that's telltale signs that, that boxing's maybe, starting to not be kind to you. And that's when we have to start looking at things, mate, and go, you know what, there's life after boxing. Yeah, you just need to find some direction, some sort of discipline, whatever it is, mate. But do you feel that you may be coming back into boxing for the wrong reasons? Because you know that when these sort of things start happening to you, mate, it's time to consider a new career.
Yeah, mate, I totally understand where you're coming from, and some people may worry, but I'm actually in a really good place, mate. I'm confident. I think everything's going well. I'm training well. I've been sparring as well. Even going back when this stuff was ongoing, I was always okay in sparring. I was fine in sparring. So that also leads me to believe that maybe the weight was a bit more of an issue than what I thought. Getting down to middleweight,
mate? What do you put the concussions down to then? Because I would only put that down to one thing, mate: wear and tear. If I'm totally honest, and I'm speaking from the heart here, Liam, because I like you as a person, mate, and respect you. But I go like, when things like that are starting to happen, that's just not normal procedure. It never happened earlier on in your career, and they're warning signs, mate. They really are.
I know the concussion. I know where it come from. It was an elbow to the head in sparring.
But it happened a few times, no?
Yeah, because I never give myself the correct break and the correct time out of the ring in between. I thought, like partly my own stupidity, just thinking I'm too big and tough. It's one of those things. But you need a good break after you have a concussion.
Are you going to get licensed, Liam? I mean, the reality of the condition that you have, you're a big boy, you take responsibility for your own well-being, but the fact of the matter is, in order to get yourself licensed, you're going to have to be clinically evaluated given the circumstances previous. Is there any circumstances where you think you won't get... You've got licensed already, have you?
Yeah.
And so, prior to your decision, I mean, you talked about the Eubank fight, and that fight went in fits and starts. I mean, we saw the fight. You had a go at the end, and it was a difficult fight for you. You've come back. You've lost fights. You got dropped by Hamza Sheeraz, knocked out in the first round of your last fight. Now, have you had a clinical evaluation of yourself? It's all well and good me and Spence sort of lecturing you about what you do and don't do with your own health. But the clinical evaluation of yourself, I mean, ultimately, are you comfortable that you're in a physical condition to be able to go back into the ring for whatever motivations you have, whether the motivations are you want to right wrongs or economically you want to get returns from boxing because it will shape the rest of your life? Are you comfortable that clinically you're in the right condition to go back into a ring?
Yes, mate, 100%. I feel very fit and healthy. As I said earlier on, I've been sparring, training. I know sparring is one thing, fighting is another thing. I get that. But I've been sparring in the gym. I'm feeling really good. I've got no concerns. I feel great, and that's from the heart.
Liam, what was the motivation for wanting to come back, mate? Because you retired after that Hamza Sheeraz defeat. Where did the motivation come from to want to come back?
To be honest with you, mate, I had a lot of things going on in my life, to be honest with you, which made boxing not enjoyable for me anymore. And for me to say that I'm done, that was the easy route out for me. Since that, things have got a lot better. My life is just a lot better now. So I feel like I'm in a position where I want to put a lot of them wrongs right. I didn't leave on the best note. I got stopped in one round by Hamza Sheeraz, which is like no shame. Well, it is shame, but Hamza's a really good fighter.
I mean, you can judge by our tone here, Liam, that obviously there's concern. There's bound to be. What are those closest to you saying to you?
I and they were kind of the same to be at the beginning. To be fair, it's just one of those things. Look, at the end of the day, I'm not a silly boy. If I didn't feel right, or if at any point during this stage of getting back fit and ready to go in the ring again, if any point that I don't feel okay, then that's me. I'll hold my hand up and go, nah, this ain't the right decision.
So do you still feel you've got unfinished business in boxing?
100%, yeah.
So when might you go back in the ring? What is your plan going forward? What you're looking at?
I don't really know that answer to be fair at the moment, but I'm hoping that I can possibly get back in the ring before the end of the year, before Christmas. So just waiting to see what my manager can do, and fingers crossed we'll be back before the end of the year.
Liam, I want to thank you for joining us. Before we go, I'll let Spencer have the last word here on this.
Yeah, Liam.
No one can stop him.
No, absolutely.
Doing that.
Listen,
what is your true opinion of what he's going to do?
Liam Williams is his own man, and like I say, I've got a lot of respect for him, not just as a fighter, but as a person as well. I've always had a great relationship with Liam, and he's doing it for his own reasons, and you can't stop him from doing that. But what I would like to say to you, Liam, is, I just wish you all the best in the future, and more importantly, it's all about the health and safety of a fighter, and I just hope that everything goes well for you, mate.
100%, mate. Thank you, and I respect those, the way you think. So I appreciate your time.
Bless you, mate.
Take care, lads.
Liam Williams with us this lunchtime. We'll react to that after this. We're talking boxing this Thursday lunchtime. Of course we are, with Spencer and Simon. We've just been hearing from Liam Williams, who has said he's going to go back in the ring and fight again. This was after he retired because he was taking too many blows to the head and had suffered damage along the way. But now Liam has made the decision, and only Liam can make it, that he wants to go back in the ring and fight again. So many people getting in touch with the show off the back of that chat. Sammy in Manchester. Hi guys, I suffered a serious brain injury a few years ago. I wanted to carry on where I left off. You get good things from boxing in the sport, but I was advised against it. And I listened, of course, to that advice, and I took the advice. There's Rich. Rich, thanks for this. I'm perplexed listening to Liam Williams. My only thought would be, which fighter would ethically, morally want to fight Liam, knowing his history? And also, you tell me, guys, would Liam get a fight?
Well, the next question, logical extension to that is which promoter would want to promote? Now, I don't want to do Liam Williams out of opportunities in life, and I don't want Liam Williams to have to explain himself as to the decisions that he's made. The concern that's coming from Spencer specifically, and latterly me, is about the well-being of a human being and the choices that he's making and the reasons why he might be making them.
Sure.
And I would be surprised, given his medical history, if any of the major promoters would want to take that risk with Liam. And I don't want to damage his opportunity if that's what he's decided to do. I just want the fella to be safe in life, and have a life afterwards, because I'm sure he's got a family, and his family want him there for the long term and not from some instantaneous gratification. So if he doesn't get a main promoter, where is he going to go to get some meaningful fights with some meaningful returns attached?
That's a fair point, Spencer, isn't it?
It's a very valid point, you know, and it's a very difficult situation, isn't it? Because like Simon says, you know, we don't want to do the kid out of, you know, any future earnings, etc., etc. But I'm all about the health and well-being of a fighter, and I think that, you know, with Liam's condition, where, you know, in his last couple of fights and where he was at, and what he said himself, come out publicly and spoke about himself, about, you know, having these concussions and whatnot. You look at that, and, you know, the brain suffers scar tissue through the wear and tear of fights through a career, and you go, at some point, that's your body saying, look, mate, we have to find something different.
The one thing that Liam Williams is, despite the knockout to Hamza Shiraz's game,
he really
is. If you look at the fact that if he did go into that first fight with Eubank with concussion, given the fact that the first 4 or 5 rounds with Eubank were torrid, you know, you saw Liam Williams bite down his gum shield and have a real go out of pure pride and standards and substance. But, you know, if their medical evidence points towards a challenge, then it must be the industry's responsibility to turn around and say, we need to stop somebody from doing something to themselves. It should be incumbent upon the industry, both the licensing body and the medical advice to get into a fight has got to mean something.
Yeah, sure. He's a great kid, Liam.
This is an industry that sanctions some crazy stuff, though.
It is, and do you know what the problem is, Jim, that we have with fighters as well? Like, the fighter's the first person to know it, but the last person to admit it, and that was when it comes to retiring. And he probably feels that, you know, after the first round defeat against Hamza Shiraz, he wants to go in there and prove himself. That's the gladiatorial side of him, and I understand all of that.
Yeah.
You know, because it was back in February 2024, he had his last fight, and now he's sitting there and he's probably thinking, I want to do it one more time. I want to test myself one more time. But I go, at what cost, mate?
Yeah.
You know, look at this and just go and find something else. Become a trainer, become a manager. You've been a great ambassador for the sport, and there is still a lot to give, but it's not inside the ring. You don't have to do it inside the ring.
Well, we don't know where or when Welshman Liam Williams will go back in the ring, but we'll keep in touch with Liam and watch it with interest. One thing we do know is that former boxer turned bare knuckle fighter Tyler Goodjohn will not be sending Spencer Oliver a Christmas card. Now, Tyler Goodjohn retired at the weekend after he lost this bare-knuckle fight to Paulie Malignaggi. It was a split decision, and it was a thoroughly torrid affair. But Malignaggi came out on top. Tyler Goodjohn lost it and then retired. But then the same Tyler Goodjohn took to social media to launch an attack at Spencer.
I watched talkSPORT today, you know, talking about the fight with Paulie. Spencer Oliver, I mean, look, it's like this. I don't really like him as a pundit anyway, especially the last sort of 6 months, year. He speaks from a perspective of someone who's trying to please all the promoters, the managers, all the money men. I really don't feel like he speaks for the fighters, the people who need a voice. And what really annoyed me today is that he referred to me as being a Southern area level professional. Spencer, you know better than that. You know me. I was an English champion. What was the point of me getting in there, fighting a 12-0 fighter, becoming champion of England, to then be mugged off on talkSPORT and be told that I was Southern area level? And look, Spencer, it's like this, mate. I demand an apology. I'm not asking, I demand an apology.
Well, he demands an apology. Wow. What we would say is that in order to try and make Spencer feel even more uncomfortable, we tried to get Tyler Goodjohn to join us live in the show. But thus far, he has shown no inclination to do that. What's going on here with this man?
It's funny, Jim, because he was happy to join Drive last night. So he went on the show on Drive last night. And when it was put to me, could we get Tyler on? I said, yes, please. Let's get him on. Let's have it out. I'll tell you where we're at with it. He retired from boxing back in 2017. By the way, always had respect for the kid. And I said to him, look, he was always that tough guy. And, maybe the guy that was the opponent to go on to the next level. That's probably the best way of putting it. I thought when we were doing the show, yeah, I'm sure he was Southern Area champion. All right, Southern Area champion. The next move is the English champion. So, yeah, okay, apologies, I got it wrong. He wasn't Southern Area, he was English champion. That's great. Okay, but let's not get personal about this and start saying you was mugged off. He wasn't mugged off. I think that what's happening here is he's trying to dine out on this. He's retired from bare knuckle boxing now. He's done great in bare knuckle boxing. He was a good boxer as well. I'm giving him his flowers for that.
You don't have anything against him.
But don't dine out on my name though, saying because me and Simon done a show and I said you was Southern Area champion and disrespected your name because I was English champion. He's mugged me off. I used to like Spencer until 6 months ago because I don't answer his DMs on my Instagram. Come on, mate. Get a grip. Well, and by the way, about the apology, you don't get an apology speaking to me like that, by the way. That's where we go with it.
Well, Tyler, as we now know, was on Drive yesterday. And amongst other things, Spencer called you a tit.
He knows you well then.
Well, yeah, fair play to him on that one. Yeah, we'll give him that one.
Does it prickle you a bit that somebody who's been in the fight game as you have been is obviously clearly not having what you have said?
No, but Jim, all it is, mate, is like I say, he's dining out on it. He's been begging to come on talkSPORT to get over his story. Look, he was one of those boxers that said he never got treated right from the game. He never earned the money. He's not got a lot of respect for the promoters that are in the sport. He wanted to come on talkSPORT to air his views on that and say what really it was like at that bottom end, the grassroots end of boxing. Unfortunately, he didn't get that opportunity to come on talkSPORT, and I think that he's now taking it personally on me because he hasn't been on it. And so now all of a sudden he's gone from liking me to really hating me and I'm a rubbish pundit. And all of a sudden, I've got this wrong with the Southern area and the English. I go, look, come on, mate. Really, you are really dining out on this.
It is what it is. Pundit, you're a very popular pundit. But on occasion, do you say things to please the promoter?
Well, look, him calling me a tit, the guy to my right calls me it every week. So that's water off a duck's back. That's not a problem. He's laughing. That's not a problem. Yeah, but look, it is what it is. It is what it is. Look, one thing that Tyler Goodjohn has done is got people talking. He's got us talking about him on here. So congratulations, mate. Well done.
But in fairness to the kid, he's not right. In terms of Spencer, because Spencer has been upsetting people frequently over the last couple of years, and I've been trying to get him to curtail that.
Yes.
But
you never do.
No, absolutely. I've been trying to give him the right way of going, which is don't go upsetting people. If you look at the Conor Benn situation, he was upsetting promoters left, right, and centre there because he was saying the right things.
Yes.
So I think the accusation against Spencer that he was playing the game and blowing smoke up the backsides of promoters to keep himself in. Not right, not accurate. If the kid's got a beef about the fact he gave him the wrong entitlement, fine, he's now told you, I got it wrong, you're an English champion. That's the end of the discussion. He's a good pundit, he's a good lad, Spencer, and so I think the other young man is trying to make some noise just to get himself a little bit of space in the vacuum that perhaps his life is now in.
Tyler, if you're listening, that's our answer to you. Spencer's a great guy and a top pundit as well.
And a tit.
That's enough from you. Spencer is now going to jump the tube down to the O2 and head to the press conference, which will feature Fabio, Wardley and Joseph Parker. Spencer, thanking you.
Gentlemen, thank you.
In early.
And a lovely speech there at the end, by the way, Simon. Just the tip bit at the end really upset me. But
I know.
Can we edit that out?
Just when he's putting you up there on a pedestal.
Yeah, it was going well.
Yeah. It's 12:30.
A big step forward. That's what Liverpool's Champions League winning midfielder Didi Hamann has called last night's 5-1 win over Frankfurt.
A big boost for the confidence, and obviously Wirtz getting his first couple of assists, I think will be a lot of weight off his shoulders, and hopefully we see the best of him now.
Ekitike was good again, but Salah struggled off the bench. Meanwhile, Isak picked up another injury, and Arne Slot has shared his reaction.
You feel like, yeah, there must be a moment where he can play twice a week, and the first time we try, he did this in Sweden as well, but the first time we try, he has to go off.
Elsewhere, Enzo Maresca considers himself lucky to have Esteval, calling him a special talent. The winger was one of 3 teenagers to score in Chelsea's 5-1 dismantling of Ajax. Thomas Frank says Spurs are still learning the ropes of Champions League football. His side played out a goalless draw at Monaco. In the Championship, Rob Edwards says the quiet Hillsborough atmosphere made it harder for Middlesbrough to perform.
It did make it strange. It probably added more, in a weird way, it added more pressure on us. And it probably made me feel a bit more pressured.
Borough are now second following their 1-0 win. The Wednesday fans stayed away in protest over the ownership. And a big thank you from everyone here at talkSPORT Towers today. The latest industry stats show 3.4 million of you are listening to the talkSPORT network.
night of football in Europe in the Europa League under Danny Roll. Rangers for the first time go in against Brann. First time under Danny Roll, at least. Celtic, meantime, up against Sturm Graz, the Austrian club. And a fair bit of interest in that because hasn't all been plain sailing for Celtic of late. In a moment, we're going to be joined by Scottish football journalist, top man he is, Bill Leckie. But after the defeat at Dens Park Dundee at the weekend, Brendan Rodgers raised an eyebrow or two with what he said. Post-match, he said, there's no way you go into a race, you're given the keys to a Honda Civic and say, I want you to drive it like a Ferrari. As I say, various eyebrows raised about a comment such as that. And Martin O'Neill fell into that category, former Celtic boss, when he joined Simon and myself on Monday.
I don't know why he said that, in all honesty. I don't know, he'll have his reasons for it, but
he's playing to the gallery, is he?
You just wouldn't do that. And I mean, this is obviously a direct comment, totally directed at the board for not supporting him. And I even if it's, you wouldn't do it, you wouldn't publicly say this, because it doesn't go down well. And remarkably, believe it or not, after a while, it doesn't really go down with the supporters either.
So that was Martin's take in it. In a moment, Bill Leckie will join us, as I said. Rodgers, meantime, has spoken since, and he says he was simply referring to his squad being diminished in terms of pure speed, with the departures of the likes of Kyogo in January and Nicholas Kuhn to Como in the summer. This was Brendan.
There's also been a lot made of your comments after the game about Honda Civics and Ferraris. Can you just clarify what you meant by all of that, and can you understand why some may view that as a criticism of your players?
Yeah, well, I don't know because I haven't seen or read or heard anything. But yeah, I was based around the speed in our team. Clearly, it's not the same as what we had last season. So, and I'm pretty sure both of those cars got a different speed. So that was the reference to that.
Brendan, do you understand the interpretation of the comment? Because I think the focus has switched to what impact that might have on the players that are here right now.
Yeah, I'm not really worried, to be honest. You can't please everyone, and I'm not going to start trying to do that now. So no, the players know that I'm with them. I've always been with them, and yeah, our focus is now on performing and performing to our best level.
Do you stand by the Honda Civic comment? No regrets over it?
Yeah, listen, it's something that I said at the time, and I said it because I felt it. So I've got no regret now.
Bill Leckie joins us live, Simon, on the show this lunchtime. Bill, good afternoon. Do you think privately Brendan's thinking, God, I wish I'd never said that?
I doubt it very much, actually. He's doubled down. He had every opportunity to say, look, I was in the heat of the moment, we just lost a game, maybe it was taken the wrong way, blah, blah. But he completely backs himself on it, so he obviously means that. But I think he has to be very careful, Jim, because, the fans are very much anti-bold at the moment at Celtic. There's protests every week. And if by him playing into that, he's got to be careful because his job is to win games and he's not winning games the way he should. His job is to get Celtic playing football, and their football just now is dreadful. So if he's saying that his team are Honda Civics, what does that make the Dundee team that just beat them 2-0 fairly comfortably? I mean, with all due respect to Dundee, Stephen Preston's put together a team of Fiat Unos, and yet the Fiat Unos battered the Honda Civics. So he's got to be very careful of the language he's using.
What do you make of it, Simon?
I think that's absolutely right. That's what I would have said. Who was he playing against? So if you're comparing him to the Honda Civics, the fact of the matter is, it's also, it's something that follows on from the observations that he's made about the loss of the Champions League position against a side that they should never have lost against and never been knocked out of the Champions League qualifiers. And if I'm the board, it's not about whether the players are upset. It's about what you're doing to the people that you're employed by. That's the bigger question. How was the reaction from the people? Because you're comparing your squad that's been bought for you on the back of conversations that you've had after getting yourself knocked out of the Champions League. Clearly, you're not happy with your squad. How would the board react to it? Because if I was Dermot, I would give Brendan a massive smack. I would give him a massive smack for that sort of conversation because we know what it's about. It's not about the players, really. It's about the fact that Brendan doesn't feel that he's been given the resource. And he's steering into the narrative that the Celtic fans will have, which is Celtic only buy players once they know once their future has been secured in the Champions League, then they'll buy players. And that might well be the case. But what you don't expect your manager to do is go off the reservation and play to the gallery to preserve himself.
You go with
Brendan's
Simon
stock
on
and
that,
trade.
Bill. That probably behind the scenes he's due for a massive slap from the board.
I 100% agree with that. I think as I say, his job should be to get his team playing. His players are better than anybody else's players in that league. They should be good enough to beat Almaty. They should be doing better against the likes of Braga than they did. Sturm Graz tonight becomes a massive game for them. They're at Hearts on Sunday. Now, if Hearts take them apart on Sunday, the way Dundee did last Sunday, Brendan Rodgers becomes the focus very quickly. At the moment, the board are the focus. But Brendan Rodgers has got 2 £5 million wingers during the summer transfer window. He brought in a really good midfielder in Nygren in the window. He's got an £11 million player from last summer's window, Engels, who barely gets a game now. He's had a lot of backing. And he has to now take his players, whatever he thinks they are, and get them finely tuned and get them back playing the way they should be playing, or it will very, very quickly become about him.
You're right about Hearts. They play Hearts. They go through to Tynecastle, play them Sunday, 12 noon kickoff on that one. Where do you think it finishes? Do you think we're getting into the final weeks and months of Brendan's second tenure at Celtic then, Bill?
Well, there was a lot of talk last summer, Jim, about whether he would sign on for longer. I don't think he will. I never thought he would. But what I thought he would try and do is have a kind of victory lap where they would dominate things again this season. He'd get to about March and say, right, it's time to announce that I'm leaving, and it would become a big procession towards the end, and he'd be seen off with rose petals and carried shoulder high. At the moment, it's not looking like that, and you wonder if things don't get better for Celtic, how quickly his place in the pantheon starts to be slightly diminished, because if he doesn't complete the job that he set out to do this second time round, it could all get a little bit ugly. To happen, you know yourself, Jim, it goes very, very quickly with either of the old firm. You know, when things go wrong, it can unravel at a rate of knots, and he really has to work very quickly to turn this around and stop deflecting away from his own failings.
Yeah, in some ways, just after what Bill just said there, Brendan's heaped even more pressure on himself with what he said.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he could back down. I think the questioning pushed him into a place where he couldn't really back down. If the question had been about his relationship with the board, then he might have found himself into a situation where he could navigate himself into a position where he looks like he's backing down because he doesn't want that confrontation. Yeah. He can have the confrontation maybe with his players. He can't have it with Dermot, and he can't have it with the other guys because he'll lose. He might not lose with the players, but the fact of the matter is, this is Brendan. This is, I like Brendan. He's a very personable fellow. And whether he's got tickets on himself is a different conversation. I think you've got to back yourself. But this is Brendan. This is what Brendan does. And I don't think he fancies it anymore. I think the ultimate opportunity for Brendan is that he's gone back to Celtic. Perhaps he's reacquainted himself with the opportunities that might provide him with different ones in the future. And my feeling is that, and I might be wrong, is that Brendan owes Celtic a little bit more than Celtic owes him.
Bill, before we leave you, Danny Roll got into Rangers. How's it been received?
I found it very interesting, Jim, his unveiling the other day, because Andrew Kavanagh, the 49ers guy who's the chairman of Rangers, paid him the most glowing testimonial you could have heard. He's an incredible tactician. He makes his tactics work on the park. He's got an edge. He'll connect with the fans, blah, blah, blah. And I sat there thinking, well, why wasn't he in the job before Russell Martin then, if he's that good a manager? Because it's taken this catastrophic 4 months to get to this place. And if Steven Gerrard had wanted it, he'd have had it. If Kevin Muscat had made the time and work, he'd have had it. And yet suddenly Andrew Kavanagh is saying that Danny Roll, and he might be right, is a phenomenal coach who, and it's like they're trying to rewrite history and reset to zero and say, this is the guy we wanted all the time. And something about it doesn't ring true. However, he talked a tremendous game the other day, Danny Roll, and we'll see tonight. Now, you can't expect him to get miracles overnight, but let's see how much of his dynamism he can put into Rangers after 2 or 3 training sessions.
Okay. Very briefly, Bill, in a sentence, who'd you take to win on Sunday, Hearts or Celtic?
Hearts.
Hearts. Only needed one word. Bill Leckie, as always, thank you so much. It's shaping up, isn't it? Derek McInnes was on our show the other day saying, yeah, whatever we're doing, we're going to try and keep doing it.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because there's more interest now because there's all these different challenges. Whatever the negative influence about the challenges that these two teams are having, it's creating some interest around Scottish football. I'm finding myself engaged with the challenges of Scottish football. I want to see Hearts do well. I want to see, Derek McInnes is doing well at this moment in time. If you look back over his record, okay, there's times when perhaps he didn't do so well, Bristol City being the case in point. But currently at this moment in time, the Tony Bloom revolution, shall we say, looks like it's got some traction. But that is predominantly because the two old firm sides suck. If they were doing that, albeit they're saying that, Hearts haven't lost the game, so it doesn't really matter if Celtic were playing well.
Exactly.
There'd still be a challenge from Hearts because they'd still be either top of the league or close to it.
Okay, Hearts Celtic on Sunday. That is then, this is now. And right now, we're back after this.
Business Briefing on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Got a side hustle providing doggy daycare? Take the lead with business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big three networks. For verification, see tescomobile.com/business.
And we're going to finish off today by looking at one of the top business stories with Tesco Mobile for Business. I'm afraid, Sheffield Wednesday fans, it's about you. Well, it's about your club, that is for sure, because Sheffield Wednesday supporters stayed away from Hillsborough last night. Middlesbrough visited the place. Middlesbrough fans pretty much outnumbered Sheffield Wednesday fans. Of course, this is a football club, Sheffield Wednesday, where the owner, Daifon Chansiri, has had major obstacles, mainly put in his way by himself in terms of not being able to pay players, staff, umpteen people at the club, many people going unpaid for weeks on end. And it's now got to crisis stage. Sheffield Wednesday, bottom of the table. Post-match, Henrik Pedersen, the head coach, didn't really know where it was going to go.
It's painful because I know how many people who want to be here understand and respect all the people. And yeah, just looking forward that we can all come together again in the future.
Do you see a sign of that in the near future?
I don't know. There is other people who know more about this than me.
I mean, this was, if you can call it such a thing, a proper boycott. Yeah. They stayed away because they're fed up with Chansiri still being there. Yeah. And in their the perception is this huge mismanagement at the very top of their football club. This is now getting serious. Not that it wasn't before, but it's serious now for Chansiri.
Well, it has been serious for him for some time. You know, do
you think it registers with him?
Well, I get the impression it's beginning to register with him a little bit more based upon some of the conversations that I'm a tad privy to. Look, I mean, there's a balance between can he or won't he. I get the impression that he can't fund the football club anymore. And so then it becomes about what does that look like in terms of how do you find an exit? Having been in a similar situation, the challenge for him is he has no goodwill from the Sheffield Wednesday fan base. Goodwill doesn't last very long anyway, but he has no goodwill from the Sheffield Wednesday fan base. There's a general intemperance and intolerance towards him, and he's brought some of that upon himself. I understand some of his reactions to situations where he's gotten most offended and gone right back at the fans and told them what he thinks of it, but you can't win that game. You're not going to win that game. You can be bold if you want to. You've got enough currency in the bank to be a little bit bold with fans, and I don't think he's got any.
I don't think he's got anything in the bank.
Well, no, but, you know, whatever you think of him, he has spent a lot of money on the football club.
Simon, and it's a mess.
It is a mess.
And he's taken them to that.
It is a mess, and people run out of money. And tragically, when it comes to a football club, it's so glaring. And sometimes it's unpredicted, it's unwanted, it's not what you did tell that you were ever going to get involved in football for, but it's happened. Like lots of businesses happened. You know, if somebody was living in a house and they couldn't meet their payments on a house, they wouldn't appreciate everyone from the bank staff standing outside their house screaming abuse at them, would they? They'd be like, hang on a second, I'm doing my best to pay my mortgage. There's an element of that, but I also understand he took on a responsibility, having been in that situation myself. The thing is that is it a case of he doesn't want to sell because he can't quite get the offer that he anticipates he wants, or he doesn't want to sell because no one's there to buy it? If he's going to give it to somebody, then someone will come along and take it. My feeling is that part of this might end up in administration, and that might help the IFR, the Independent Financial Regulator, because how's he going to take over this football club? I would guess if there's a requirement to run this football club, it probably needs about 10 bar. It makes 10 million quid to run it for the rest of the season. Who's going to pay that? So the only way to do that potentially is to stick it into administration, squeeze some of the creditors out, which is horrible to hear, but it's a commercial reality, and find a buyer that's prepared to fund the administration rather than sit there suggesting the independent regulator is going to come in and fund it, because they ain't.
Because it's not moving in any direction.
Well, you know, it may well be. And the big thing is to move, I think, Chansiri into a space where he recognises the threat of the regulator, which is you can't sit here and just, you know, cry at the sea to go back. There is a possibility that the regulator has got the lever and the leverage to take it off you.
Chansiri must know that by now, surely.
Well, you'll be surprised what people do and don't know. And when we listen to people all the time coming on this show or in the media talking off the top of their head about things that they do and don't know, and you actually look into it, you find out they don't know what they're talking about at all. And that's actually people that are supposed to be in positions of influence. So I'm not sure he does know. I think he's beginning to realise that there's jeopardy to his position of maybe sitting there waiting for somebody. Now, you've got a football club. Where's the stadium? Who's got the stadium? Because he's hived that out. What are you buying? Because if you haven't got the stadium in the equation, because that needs to be reunited with the football club, what is it you're buying? If you're buying a football club that doesn't own its stadium, there's not going to be many people that will rock up for that, put their hand up the parapet for that particular one. Now, that doesn't mean that I think Sheffield Wednesday are in mortal jeopardy of going out of business. But there is some existential stuff in terms of the division that you're in, because if you keep on cutting off the revenue streams, you'll force Chansiri up, but you'll force yourself into administration. And it may well be the path anyway. It may well be that the petitions to wind up are coming from the HMRC around unpaid HMRC bills. That may well be the course of action that comes. And then ultimately, I don't think Chansiri's got debentures in there, so I think all the money he's got is going to be written off. And so there is a point of view that says that it's easier to deal with the seller right now, to get him into a position that is to find a buyer.
John Texter said there were 3 or 4 interested parties, are there?
Yeah, well, you know, how can John speak to what the 3 or 4 interested parties
What do
are?
you know? You've got a bit of knowledge, a tad of knowledge,
I think
due to conversations you've had.
I think there'll be solutions, but I think they're difficult. And I think Chansiri has got to be moved into a the reality of what he can and can't achieve, in the same way that the fellow at Reading that seemed to be intent upon destroying the football club, in the instance of destroying himself. Sheffield Wednesday, I believe, in the same way that I believe Reading will come through it, but there's going to be some collateral. The fans are, in no uncertain terms, making their views very, very clear, and they're not prepared to go inside a football stadium and give them one scintilla of their money. Now, it's interesting to see. I wonder what the percentage of penetration for season tickets against casuals are, because if they've got a very high season ticket revenue and a very low casual gate, then they've got all the money anyway. They've had all the money from tickets.
Yeah, they've got a home game on Saturday against Oxford. Unless he makes a move, nothing's going to change, isn't it? Well, unless Chansiri does something that he's not doing at the moment,
well, some other bugger might.
Nothing's going to change.
If the HMRC go and get a petition to wind up,
because it's not an attractive purchase, as you said, for a variety of reasons.
Well, yeah, there's got to be, but you can pull it all together. I mean, ultimately, the person that's going to have to take a pill is him. And to get that football club sold, it might be that someone takes it off him for nothing, takes on the ongoing debts. But this is a great football club with a great set of opportunities, and it could be a great football club. It's worth a punt, Sheffield Wednesday. It's
really the sort of club you'd love to have.
It's worth a punt.
With,
you could build this football club in the same way that Ipswich have built theirs, and you could put it in the Premier League, and you'd get 6 times earnings if you're an investor. There is an opportunity here. There is an opportunity, but it means being involved in it. It's like the various factions that potentially are orbiting around me are suggesting certain conversations. I don't know if I'd want to go and run another football club for 4 or 5 years in terms of turning it into an opportunity to get back in the Premier League. But if someone got hold of it, knows what they're doing, it wouldn't really take much. Hard work, but then so should it be. But it wouldn't take that much money to be able to build Sheffield Wednesday into a club that goes into the Premier League, and then you can flip it and make some money.
Okay.
That's what you want to do.
That was a roundup of football's top business story with Tesco Mobile for Business. Mr. Jordan is going to set off fairly soon to Spain after Wardley, Parker and Saturday night.
Yes, staying for that.
Looking forward to that, Simon. In the meantime, you're going to have a few days off. Way ahead, I'll be back Monday with the 2 Martins, and that'll be interesting in itself. Martin Keown and Martin O'Neill. Oh, yeah. Looking forward to that. It's 1 o'clock.
Business Briefing on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Got a side hustle providing doggy daycare? Take the lead with business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big 3 networks. For verification, see tescomobile.com/business.